welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown. Joining me here in Earth, 616. I'm not really sure what number it is. Seems like they're kind of just making it up. I don't know. Who's to say? It's Andrew Meadows.
Oh. I am here.
Hello. But,
hi.
The listeners probably heard a laugh that didn't sound like Mr. Meadows, and indeed, they might have thought, oh man, it's a Marvel movie. Maybe, just maybe they'll bring someone in. Maybe they'll bring in their resident Marvel expert, Mr. Henrique Jaime, and they would be correct in thinking that because he is here with us, he's wearing what appears to be a Phillies hat. I think he probably is just wearing it because it's red, not to specifically piss me off, but he's here nonetheless.
I'm here also wearing some Marvel stuff, it's not...
the Marvel stuff Phillies. Somewhat makes up for it, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm here from some dimension, not really sure. I just kind of appeared on this stream, but...
Earth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think it's something to do with Spider-Man, but, let's just go with it.
Yeah. I don't know how I got here. I still haven't seen Morbius, just for the record.
Oh,
it's on the list. It's on the list. I'll get around. I've watched the post-credit scenes from Morbius, so I've seen that scene. I know what that is. I know that. I understood that reference. But.
So a Sony Morbius and Madam Web double feature bonus episode. I think the people want it,
and maybe in preparation for Kraven the Hunter rounding out the year. I mean, or
we could do it.
Yeah.
Venom the Last Dance. We could do it in preparation for one or the other. We could do it. That might have to be. This is the only MCU film. I don't know if that's a fun fact.
That's true.
Deadpool and Wolverine, what we're talking about here, is the only MCU film of 2024, which is pretty crazy in this day and age. Pretty wild. I mean, somewhat a symptom of strikes, writer strike, actor strike, impacted production of a lot of things, moved the schedule around. There's always Blade, but we're going to talk about Comic-Con stuff today. But what do you know? We're not going to talk about Blade. It's an exciting movie. It is obviously something I think that has kind of taken the world by storm, and we'll get to that when we talk about the box office for it. But yeah, it's a big one. This is a big one. It's Deadpool's arrival into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The barriers between the old guard of 20th Century Fox, taking control over X-Men, Deadpool, other characters, it's the walls have been broken down. So now Disney, Marvel Studios, they have all these characters, at their disposal to play with. And so we got Deadpool and Wolverine teaming up for not the first time in cinematic history. Technically, X-Men Origins Wolverine does exist. But we try to forget about that sort of thing. In fact, I think all the Deadpool movies have gone out of the way to make fun of that, but it was a very slight team up in the beginning before he turned into Weapon 11.
Weapon 11.
The Deadpool,
right.
The mutant killer. But
Jesus. Yikes.
We can talk about X-Men Origins Wolverine a little bit later. We can talk about other good, classic 20th Century Fox movies maybe before we get into Deadpool and Wolverine. But we are here to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine at the end of the day, which is awesome. It's kind of funny. We didn't know when we were going to be able to record on this. We kind of had to shuffle dates around a couple times, thinking, all right, we got to do it on a day that works for everyone. And then we ended up doing it. We're doing it 2 days after we just did the Acolyte, so catching up.
We've done that.
Catching up is pretty light for me. We've recorded I think like 4 or 5 episodes I think in the span of 2 weeks, which is definitely something we have not done since at least pre-baby days and probably engagement days for both Andrew and myself. So it's kind of interesting, but we're banking it up basically because. I bought a house. People might know that from listening to the last one. And I'm moving very soon and going on vacation as well. So I've got a lot of things going on. So in the interest of, hey, I don't have to pack a bunch of stuff and record, elsewhere. Let's do it now. Let's do it while we have time. And we managed to find the time that wasn't going to work at one point, but is working now. And we're here to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. So here we are. We have arrived. So let's fucking go with the fun fact about Deadpool and Wolverine, if anyone has one to offer.
No, I was like, I can't really think of something. There's got to be something, but then it's probably a spoiler. I looked some things up, and I was like, oh, wait.
There's definitely some spoilery things. It could be fun facts. That's definitely
we could save that.
For sure.
But then I remembered.
We'll get into it.
I remembered the popcorn bucket.
Okay. Yeah. That's right.
And I think a lot of people probably know about this, but if they haven't, this might not be so fun because it's actually sold out online from AMC theaters.
There's always eBay.
Yeah, you can find it eBay. It might be used though, so you got to be, a little more.
You should be very careful. Wary based on the design.
Be careful where you get it from.
Make sure you give it a thorough, deep clean when you get it off eBay.
So in the same year of our Lord Dune Part 2, right. and the I guess whatever I don't know what you want to call it. Just the popcorn bucket was very popular. We'll just say that, or at least
sandworm vagina bucket. It made however you want to.
It made the rounds on social media and even SNL. So of course Deadpool couldn't resist. He designed a bucket where it's a popcorn bucket and it's Wolverine's face with a giant mouth opening in it for you to grab your popcorn. What else do you do with that bucket is
exclusively for grabbing popcorn.
But
no, only for grabbing popcorn officially, according to the powers that be. But people out there on the internet are probably pretty creative, so you never know what could happen.
AMC says this collector's item is not just a popcorn container; it's a bold statement for every Marvel fan. So
okay.
Unique design, premium quality. Collector's item, limit 3 per household while they were in stock. So a little bit too late, but maybe you'll find one used somewhere.
I mean, I'm glancing around, the webcam setups, and I have to say I'm not seeing any Wolverine open mouth popcorn buckets around. So it seems like we all missed the boat here.
We missed out.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
That and Dune. We missed out on both. I need to say
no one, not even Andrew. You didn't even get your Dune popcorn bucket. I know you wanted it.
Come on.
Me, yes, I did. Definitely missed it though. There's been a couple of things like there's
going to be a Dune Messiah bucket,
Oh, Dune Messiah bucket. There you go.
Dune Messiah bucket. It'll happen again. There might be a Deadpool 4, so maybe we could see another Deadpool bucket. I think there actually was a second bucket, which I don't think this is a spoiler, but it's the Deadpool variant.
That was a thing.
So yeah.
They also made a controller.
A little less perverted, perhaps. There is the controller. It's the Xbox controller with the back it's got some Deadpool booty. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have seen that. There's a lot of things that I'm like, it's funny that this is being made, and obviously it's plastic, and people are gonna have these things, and maybe some people will want these things, and I'm just like, I think I'm good. I don't.
If you're a collector,
I don't know how I explain that to Anna. How do you it's just when Bennett is 4 or 5, how do you explain it to him? So it's like, if you can't answer that question and you're gonna have to hide it for way too long, is it worth it? I don't know.
I didn't buy one, so
you didn't buy one, so I guess there you go. All right. Well, thank you for that fun fact. I have a small fun fact that I'll contribute because I was kind of doing the same thing, walking in. I was like, there's a lot of fun things to say about this movie, for sure, in terms of just places it goes, but probably conversations best reserved for spoilers. But something that is not a spoiler is that something that Ryan Reynolds has come out and said in the press junket after the movie came out, which is that Deadpool and Wolverine was not the title of this movie at one point. The title that they were going to go with until I think copyright or whatever leaked, and people were like, I don't know about that. It was going to be Deadpool and Friend, singular friend, Deadpool and Friend, which I think is very funny and definitely fitting. I think from a marketing standpoint, I think they may have made the correct call.
Absolutely.
By absolutely just putting Wolverine straight up in the title. Like let's not hide the ball on what this movie is. It's Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's going to be a whole lot of both of them. But it is cheeky and funny. I seem to recall there was a time where it was on the Disney release calendar as Untitled Deadpool movie, and I was never opposed to it just sticking, like if you're going to do a Deadpool sequel, you could do Untitled Deadpool movie or Untitled Deadpool sequel, and I think that's the one Marvel franchise where you could get away with something being a little cheeky like that. But again, one of those things where maybe even if it's fun for a laugh or something like that, it might actually kind of backfire. If you call a movie like, I don't know, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, and people are like, I don't know what that is, and I don't want that. So you could, there's a thing as going too far with these sorts of things potentially. So anyway, that's my ever so slight fun fact. But again, lots of fun things to get into when we do dive into Deadpool and Wolverine properly, which we will do later. So we've got some other stuff to tee up. So we're doing things a little bit out of order from our usual flow of headlines and trailers. So we're going to do a couple trailers up front, and then we're going to do a mix of headlines, trailers, and announcements that came out at San Diego Comic-Con 2024, most of which, I think the bulk of that will be highly relevant to Marvel Studios, the future of Marvel Studios, upcoming movies on their slate and stuff like that. And I saved a lot of these, I think, to kind of, be able to talk about them when Henrique was on with us. So right. There's not a whole lot on the script in terms of what there is to get to, but there is definitely room for interesting conversations. So we'll see how long it actually takes us to go through it all. But let's start with some trailers, which, funnily enough, I think both dropped within a few days of us recording all together last time when we did X-Men 97.
Okay.
I think we were like, yeah, these things are probably coming out soon. And then, lo and behold, within a few days, they were all on the internet for everyone to see. And it's like, well, shit. And so it's taken us obviously a few weeks to reassemble as Deadpool and Wolverine was not out at the time. But we've got an upcoming TV show on the Marvel Studios side to start off with, and Agatha All Along, which I think we talked about as being the final title. I think that came up already. I don't recall specifically, so. But I think we probably talked about it as that's the title. This is what this thing is. Hopefully, we'll get a trailer for it, and then like 2 hours later, there was probably a teaser out. So, so we have now had an opportunity to see that teaser trailer. This is coming to Disney Plus, as I said, September 18th, with a 2-episode premiere of a 9-episode season. Okay. So it'll be running through November, roughly. So how are you guys feeling about Agatha All Along? It's a WandaVision spinoff sequel, perhaps. How are we feeling?
I think it looks pretty good.
All right.
I really like me some.
Got a thumbs up from Mr. Meadows.
Oh, what's her face?
Catherine Hahn.
No,
Aubrey Plaza.
She's totally fine, but.
What's her Aubrey Plaza?
Yes, Aubrey Plaza. Yeah. Big Aubrey Plaza fan.
Miss Delaware.
Of course, the resident Legion stan is a big Aubrey Plaza fan. Parks and Rec too, of course.
You're right.
So, looks like she's doing something. I don't know who her character is.
She looks like she's witching about.
She's witching about.
You got a coven of witches here. You've got Catherine Hahn, obviously back as Agatha. Deborah Jo Rupp, I think, back from WandaVision. Patty LuPone, and Aubrey Plaza. So
it's exciting stuff.
Could be interesting. Witches and such.
And I'm a sucker for the occult stuff. So
okay,
it doesn't take a whole lot for me to get kind of captivated by it. As long as it's not goofy, or not goofy. It's not that goofy's a problem. I guess it's just as long as it's cool.
Well, as long as it's cool. Not. As we talked about on the last episode, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many, which if you haven't watched The Acolyte, Henrique, light spoiler, but there are some witches in it and they do some cringy shit. Let's put it that way.
Oh boy. Okay.
There's some of that.
That's the low bar. Clear that bar and we're in business.
Yeah.
Henrique, what do you think? How you feeling about Agatha All Along?
Witches be trifling. This was a project I was
that
not,
should be a name of an episode.
I was not super excited for, because I was like, this is cool, but that seemed kind of contained. It was already, we're getting into spin-offs of spin-offs, but I actually really like the trailer. It's very witch focused, like you said, and that I think is the most appealing part. It's like around Halloween time, so certainly appropriate, and almost like a Werewolf by Night. This seems kind of maybe a little bit detached, connected to Wanda's story in some way potentially, but not so connected to the MCU. We can maybe
this is not setting up Avengers, probably,
right?
I
don't think Agatha is going to be the villain of Avengers 4, 5, whichever I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I think that the timing of this release is really what is getting me pretty pumped. Is it's like, all right, it's coming out in September. A good chunk of the series will be out around October through Halloween, and it just feels like it has the right sort of spooky-ish vibes. It doesn't look like it's scary necessarily, but it definitely has those Halloween types of vibes, like I guess hocus pocusy sorts of things.
Yeah. That was what I was
thinking.
connection.
I
was thinking
right.
But like a fun sort of tone, not trying to scare the shit out of you, but it's got like an Exorcist sort of thing at the end. You've got some creatures and stuff and witches, so it feels like it's going to have moments of terror, even if it is kind of overall maybe more lighthearted than some of the the more hardcore horror stuff you're going to get. That can be really fun too. So I am excited. Great cast, obviously, that we've kind of hit on a little bit. And yeah, I mean, just seeing a continuation here of WandaVision. I think Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was already sort of a WandaVision continuation, but it just kind of seemed like a redux where it didn't really naturally follow those events. This feels more like an actual proper follow-up. And I think it has the same showrunner, Jack Schaefer, back. So I think that, as the real, true, proper WandaVision self-contained follow-up, this looks like it'd be really cool. And honestly, even just like the first 30-40 seconds where she's doing the Mayor of Easttown stuff, I'm like, I would watch that show
definitely
too.
Definitely in PA. They're like something about I
think
by the water.
I mean, I don't know if they're planning on doing kind of similar riffs, or if that's just the first episode and then she gets pulled out and then the rest of it is witch business, or if they're trying to do kind of genre send-ups the way they did with WandaVision again. I'm not really sure how they're going to structure it, in terms of storytelling, but I'm looking forward to it. It's not too far away, just a little over a month from recording, probably a little less than a month from release of this episode, realistically. So September 18th is the exact date to look forward to seeing the first 2 episodes of Agatha all along on Disney+. Now, something that we are going to talk about a little bit more when we do get into Comic-Con, because we'll have some follow-up news and stuff on this, but we a few weeks back got an official teaser for the next MCU film after Deadpool and Wolverine, which is Captain America Brave New World. This is going to be in theaters Valentine's Day of 2025. So, you had Madam Web this year. Next year you get Captain America. But we got to look at it, and it's got some I don't know, I'd say some Winter Soldier-y sorts of vibes. It definitely seems to be leaning into the political thriller aspects of things. But this is Sam Wilson stepping up to the plate. No more Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is old Joe Biden. At the end of Endgame, and he's no longer running for president either. So now we have Sam Wilson. We've got Harrison Ford running for president. He shaved the mustache, so he doesn't look like William Hurt anymore. So yeah, what do you guys think? How are you feeling about Captain America: Brave New World based on this teaser?
This kind of similarly, I was a little bit hesitant on this project, and I would say I'm not 100% convinced, but I think in terms of trailers, this got me pretty excited. Like, this just seemed like a well-made trailer, like the Winter Soldier espionage style, like you said, and the way things are cut together. I was like, oh, I am pretty excited about this. Like, oh, I do want to see this and like get some more action. And I think in particular, less so the stinger at the end and more a little bit of the grounded nature. I'm sure it's going to be weird, right? Like the leaders in this is Red Hulk, like Serpent Society.
There's definitely some moments that are not as political thrillery.
Leaders in this?
But apparently, I do like that it seemed a little bit more grounded than a big intergalactic, just because I don't think that's Sam Wilson's, fight. I think his fight is contained. Certainly he can get up in the air and stuff, but I think he doesn't need to be fighting aliens. I think he should be fighting, different
domestic
spies
stuff,
or domestic. I don't know, like the Winter Soldier-esque level things. And I think that was
not domestic,
cool.
But security of our shit stuff. Like soldier stuff.
I thought you might be worried about the security of your shit.
Exactly.
President Ross.
Yeah.
All right. Andrew, you got some other thoughts? Enrique, not to cut you off if you have other things to add.
No.
Fucking Red Hulk.
Red Hulk, yeah. That's our stinger. Red Hulk. He's here.
Ooh.
He's
Harrison
red.
Ford, Red Hulk.
He's got a shield. Harrison
And
Ford.
he caps that shirt and just throws it in the ground. That
Throws it
looks
on the
cool.
ground. Threw it in the ground.
If I told you
That is not
20
a
years
Captain
ago
America
that
shield.
that Harrison Ford would be the Red Hulk, what would you say?
And I don't. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I would say what? I don't know how Sam Wilson beats the Red Hulk.
Yeah, he's going to need some help, I think. He's
got his hands full there.
He's gonna need to take some super soldier serum or something.
Yeah.
Because it does seem like a very unfair, one-sided sort of fight. Or he's gonna have to outsmart him. He's not. There's no way that he can physically match up. Even with some gadgets. Throw him some Wakandan gear or whatever. He might be able to withstand some of the blows and redirect some kinetic blasts, Black Panther style. But I don't think that's enough.
That's the extent of
it.
To
that's enough to survive, not to win a battle. So yeah, I kind of agree. We'll have to see how the hell that sort of thing pans out. Because it does seem very, very unbalanced in terms of power levels and skill sets. But yeah, I don't know. It's a big foe to come up against. That's for sure.
What's it? The sun's going down, big fella. Maybe that's
that's true. Yeah,
there you go. Just put him to sleep.
He's gonna have to. Yeah. Well, we could get, we see Isaiah Bradley here. We do know that he is super powered. He seems to be assassinating Ross. So if we just be like, that big red guy, he's him, kill him still. Maybe that'll do it. I don't know. It's an idea.
Yeah.
It's an idea.
What do you think about the trailer and the movie?
I am way more excited about it than I was walking into this teaser existing.
Fair.
I think just the vibes are very cool. Both the thrillery bits and the non-thrillery bits. I just am excited to see kind of a new era of Captain America at this point. I think it's interesting to see Sam stepping into it. I think the Falcon and the Winter Soldier as a series was okay. It felt like it wasn't great. It wasn't, amazing. It felt like it could have been a pretty decent 2-hour movie, but it was a okay stretched out sort of miniseries. Right. This to me looks like it's a bit more focused, and when he's fully capped now, it's not this kind of, I don't know if I'm worthy of the shield sort of thing. It's about what he can do as Cap, and I think it's really interesting. And I even just like the moment is when he's you're right, I'm not, when saying he's not Steve Rogers, and then fucking wings, and so you got a Captain America that's gonna be flying around and shit. I just think that all that side of that is really cool. And the fact that this seems to be a pseudo Incredible Hulk sequel is really interesting because the leader is here. I think Betty Ross is supposed to be in it, at least in some capacity. I don't know if the only way I'm Harrison Ford. I think he's a fantastic actor, obviously. But I am shocked that he agreed to be in this movie. Shocked.
Sometimes you need another airplane.
Money talks. But
you see his interview? Like, he interviewed with some publication.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm here. I get a paycheck. I get paid.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, I think that's probably what it comes down to. But it is like, I don't think he's just going to be phoning it in for a paycheck, but it is interesting that it's something that was at least I will at least spend a couple of months of my life doing this thing. Especially the mocap stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like you got to be paying Harrison Ford a lot of money to put him in a fucking monkey suit and, have him roar around, do
you think Harrison Ford does that?
I think he's doing it. We'll get into it with Comic-Con, but I think he's mocapping it. Yeah. I think he's all in on it. I think he something that I saw, and may have been the same thing you saw, was basically it's silly, and you have to recognize that it's silly, but that's okay. I get paid to do it. Recognize that you're getting paid to be ridiculous, with these things, and just that's okay. And it wasn't. I don't think it was.
It's an ungodly amount of money.
There was a headline that was Harrison Ford, of course he's just phoning it in, or taking the paycheck. But I think what he actually was basically saying is of course it's ridiculous. You're in a onesie and doing shit like this. How could it not be ridiculous? It's making the Planet of the Apes movies. You're pretending to be a fucking ape for a whole movie. It's ridiculous.
Just watch Andy Serkis do anything.
But that doesn't mean the final product is ridiculous. Like, like it's a testament to the filmmakers that they can transform raw footage of people, Josh Brolin as Thanos, anyone in these, goofy ass
Benedict Cumberbatch like crawling around like a dragon.
Yeah. Dragging him about. Sean Gunn walking on his knees as Rocket. Like, just the most absurd levels of shit, in terms of behind the scenes, and that people can, be professional enough to actually take this shit seriously long enough to have a whole, scene, properly captured. It's like that requires talent. I would struggle to keep a straight face with a lot of this stuff. So anyway, we'll come back to Captain America: Brave New World, preview coming attractions, but I'm very excited by this, and we talked about, I think when we talked about it, it was them doing reshoots, bringing in Giancarlo, and like he's full on display in this trailer. Giancarlo Esposito is here, and we'll talk about him more later too. So there you go. February 14th, 2025 is Captain America: Brave New World, and stay tuned for some other details that we'll get into when we get into the Comic-Con stuff. But speaking of which, we are actually going to get into San Diego Comic-Con 2024 stuff right now. We will save the Marvel Studios Hall H presentation for last and get into that, because I think the way they ended that is the way that we should end our news segment. We'll start with some other things going on before we get into Marvel. And so the thing that we are going to start with in terms of Comic-Con announcements is that the Boysiverse is continuing to expand. Following obviously the mainline series of The Boys, which Andrew talked about a little bit, our catching up section, our last episode, you finished up season 4. Enrique, I'm not sure if you're watching season 4 or not, or planning on it or whatever.
Started.
Really get spoilers or anything like that. It has been renewed for a 5th and final season, to just put a fine point on that. So the mainline The Boys is wrapping up. But of course, we had Gen V season 1 that came out last year. Season 2 is in the works right now. They've already announced The Boys Mexico, I think, with Diego Luna, I think, involved in some capacity.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, which I think we probably would have talked about a little while back, or at least Andrew and myself would have talked about a little while back. But what we are getting now is a Boys prequel series called Vought Rising, which is going to bring back 2 actors and characters that have previously appeared in The Boys, and those actors are Jensen Ackles and Aya Cash, who played Soldier Boy and Stormfront, respectively. They are going to be playing those characters in a prequel series, obviously about Soldier Boy and Stormfront at an earlier point in time before the mainline events of The Boys regular series. It's being billed as the next deranged series from the world of The Boys. Twisted murder mystery about the origins of Vought, which is obviously the big mega corporation in the 1950s, early exploits of Soldier Boy, and the diabolical maneuvers of a soup known to fans as Stormfront, who is then going by the name Clara Vought. So that was announced at Comic-Con, that the Boysiverse again continues to expand. So, and there's the animated show, which I forgot, Diabolical. So how we feeling? How we feeling about a show that very much seems to make fun of the idea of cinematic universes and superhero cinematic universes, just happily embracing their own at this point? How you guys feeling about Vought Rising, particularly too?
Yeah, I don't know if it's you live long enough to become the villain, or you just right. Embrace it. Maybe. But I think it's one of those things that's not necessary by any means, but I do like what I got from those 2 characters, and so I think there's some potential to do something interesting there. But I don't know. I haven't even gotten to Gen V yet, so it's one of the many things right. that I need to get to.
There's too many cinematic universes, so you have to keep it on top of Marvel, and then do you have time for as many Boys series as there seem to be coming out? I mean, figure probably at least 1 or 2 a year probably seems like what it's heading toward. But I don't know. Interesting. Andrew, what do you think?
I'm just not interested, to be be
You're happy as a clam just watching The Boys seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
There's one arc that I care about, and it's this one. You know what I mean? I think that this one's kind of it's on the nose enough to be like, it's I don't know. it's on the nose enough about the spoof and the thing that it's trying to do. You know, it's also on the nose enough, like, about, like, you know, just, it's very, it's on the nose about, like, political stuff as well, you know, political commentary. And I don't know. I don't need 9. I don't need 2 or 3. I guess we have 3 at this point, right? There's the animated one.
Animated.
There's the V.
The ones that are out now. Yeah, I think we're up to 3. But with at least 2 more on the horizon now.
With 2 more on the there's just too much. I'm getting it's oversaturated.
Okay.
I just want Carl Urban and Homelander, you know? Yeah. And really and truly this last season I talked about it in the thing. It felt like a coast, like it's coasting. And if that's the case for the mainstay, like the main attraction, if it's coasting, I think you're going to really struggle to find substance in another spinoff. You know what I mean? Not to say, I mean, there's different creators and stuff, so I mean, it's probably not true, but if I'm not interested in the mainstay, or if the mainstays, you know, I can do other things while I'm watching it and it's not gripping, then I'm definitely not doubling down and watching another spinoff. So I probably won't catch it. So that's that.
Fair enough. I mean, I think at least with this one, to me, it has the benefit of pulling on 2 characters that have already been established. I think maybe that could give it a leg up over a Gen V,
more interesting,
where you're introducing a whole new cast, and also they're younger, so they're probably more annoying, you know, and so you know, and the Boys Mexico, like, it's Diego Luna, great, and it's Gael Garcia Bernal is the other person involved in that. Like, so like those 2 alone, I'm like, okay, well, that's fucking cool, you know. So it's like that could totally work. So I kind of feel like in a vacuum, I think all of these ideas are interesting enough that I'm like, yes, that could work as a series, but I also kind of do feel the same way as Andrew in the sense that I'm like, I don't really need it. I'm not asking for it. Like, you know, like I'm now at the point where I'm not watching The Boys season 4 because it's like, oh, I should probably watch Gen V, and then, you know, at a certain point we're gonna get turned into the CW, you know, where I'm like, I can't watch Arrow because I haven't seen The Flash yet. And Legends of Tomorrow hasn't aired yet, and Supergirl's on now, but also Batwoman's there now too. And then is there another one that Superman and Lois is around?
A lot of people view the MCU that way too, you know.
Totally, and totally. That's what I'm saying. You can you pick a universe and you subscribe to it and you fucking consume the shit out of it. Star Wars is the same thing too, and so like between Marvel and Star Wars, I'm like, I peed out. Like, you know, like, oh, but yeah, my plate's full. Like, I don't really have room for dessert or room for a second plate, you know, or whatever. So, I would like to, and you know, if I happen to win the lottery and have all the time in the world, hell yeah, I'll fucking watch the shit out of all these shows. I'll watch some other crap too. You know, don't get me wrong. I might even watch Halo season 2, even though I know there's not going to be a season 3. You know, I might.
Yeah.
I might go so crazy, you know, and do that. But for now, you know, you got to pick and choose with the time that you have. You know, battling between TV shows and video games and books and audiobooks, and it's just like something's got to win and something's got to lose. And so this might be the kind of thing that does kind of lose. So we'll see. It's interesting enough, but not that interesting at the same time.
I feel like The Boys Mexico really missed out an opportunity to just either go like even longer and say The Boys Mexico, Los Niños, or just be Los Niños, and that's it.
Los Niños. The Boys series.
Los Niños parentheses.
The Boys.
A Boys spin-off in Mexico.
A Boys spin-off. A Boys saga in Mexico.
Yes.
And we've even got the piss yellow filter that everything set in Mexico has to have.
Yes.
All right. Should we move on to DC's sad output at San Diego Comic-Con?
DC's sad output.
Yeah, and this is not shitting on the content of what we're about to actually talk about. Just more the presence,
in terms of quantity,
presence, we should say.
Oh,
because you know,
you
Superman
can't shift the power.
Done, I think you
can't shift the power every time.
If they had the Rock, that they could definitely, you know, the power shift the power of the DC universe.
Yes.
But James Gunn has the power right now, so it's not good enough, at least for some. Yeah, no, I just mean more in the sense that DC, you know, Marvel Studios had a Hall H presentation. DC, I think, skipped out for the most part. You didn't really have a major presence. Even though Superman was basically done filming, they could have brought Superman, you know, and given a big old presentation. Obviously, we're talking about a movie that's still a year away, roughly. But the only real thing that we got from DC is the announcement that they're changing their logo back to an old logo, which is cool. Good for them. They're going back to the classic DC logo, which is good with like the rivets and stuff, like the circular logo with the rivets, which is good for them. I think you actually see it at the beginning of this teaser. And this teaser that we were talking about that came out around the time of Comic-Con is for an animated show, which is really kind of one of the first entries in Chapter 1 of the new DC universe. It's a show called Creature Commandos about Task Force M. So it's like Suicide Squad, but monsters. It seems to be kind of the gist of it. From the twisted mind of James Gunn and DC Studios, this is coming to Max in December. So yeah, what do you guys think? You looking forward to Creature Commandos? Is this on your radar?
I think it looks okay. I think it looks fun.
Yeah. Okay.
It didn't blow my socks off like watching that the Amazon Batman thing did. That kind of got me super hyped.
Yeah. But even you mean like the trailer of Caped Crusader was like, oh, this looks fucking cool.
Yeah, this looks like this is going to be something I'm really going to enjoy. This looked like something. It doesn't get me as excited as some of like the Justice League Dark trailers got me. Like with Constantine and stuff, and but it doesn't. What I will say is it doesn't look bad.
Okay.
And look with James Gunn behind it. It looks like I have no reason to doubt James Gunn. So
especially in this kind of project, right? Like making
no
a
holds
bunch
barred and
like heroes, villains, whatever you want to call them, anti-heroes that you've never heard of, really, and put them in a team. Right. Like that's kind of his specialty.
Except for Weasel, we saw Weasel before.
We saw Weasel, and
he's insane.
So. I don't know. I think it could be fun, but again, like I think because of the IP, it's like I don't really know these characters that well. It's probably one that I'd like to get to at some point because I do like some of the DC stuff, but it's not like my top priority.
Yeah, no, that's I think fair takes all around. Ones I don't really disagree with. I was not wowed by the teaser, but I thought it definitely has promise. Great voice cast. Overall, with a lot of newcomers to the DCU, Frank Grillo, Anya Chalotra, David Harbour, Alan Tudyk, and Dira Varma, and obviously some returning players. Viola Davis is back as Waller, and maybe some others, I'm not sure. Sean Gunn's back as Weasel, making noises probably. Because he's also playing Maxwell Lord, apparently. So he's pulling double duty in the DCU already. We're not even one project in this motherfucker. Nepotism, man. What's going on here? 2 roles for Sean Gunn? Come on. To his credit, he is at least an actor in and of his own right. In and of his own right,
Yeah.
We watch Gilmore Girls sometimes, right? He's pretty good on there. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued without, again, being wowed by it. But the actual set of characters look pretty interesting. I think maybe, the thing about animation is it probably affords you a lot more ability to get completely wild and batshit in a way that doesn't set you back $200 million if you're making a live action movie.
Sure.
And also you have long form storytelling, so you can probably tell a little bit more story, spend more time with these characters and these characters that no one knows anything about and kind of make them their own and make you care about a, lovable gang of misfits that seems to be James Gunn's brand at this point is Guardians and Suicide Squad, and less so probably with Superman, but certainly the case here. So yeah, I think come December, I would like to check out Creature Commandos. Again, is at the top of my list. I don't know. We'll see. But definitely intriguing. So 7 episodes.
It's nice and short. That's cool.
Nice and short. I don't know if it's an all-at-once drop. Unclear. But I think it might be weekly drops. But I may very well be wrong. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, we got a few months before we get there. So yeah, that's what kind of DC had on tap for Comic-Con, which brings us, of course, back around to Marvel Studios. And it was I think a little bit of a different flavor of Marvel Studios at Comic-Con. I think they seemed like they kind of tend to skip every other year.
Yeah, they go like D23.
Usually when they
D23, and then
they'd have the D23 to they have other venues where they're making big announcements. And I feel like sometimes, I think a couple of years ago or 3 years ago maybe, I can't remember, at Comic-Con they brought out this big multiverse saga slate, announcing everything that was to come. And if you look back at that calendar, a lot of those dates didn't hold. Again, mostly strike-induced, of course, so it's hard to totally hold it against it. But Blade was supposed to be out. Secret Wars is out in less than a year. There's a lot of things that are just like, that didn't happen. They did not do that this time, I guess, is kind of the overall point. They brought some details to share on the 3 films that are expected to be released in 2025. And those 3 films are the movie we've already talked about already a little bit, Captain America Brave New World, as well as Thunderbolts ***. Why is it called that? I don't know. And the Fantastic Four, First Steps, new title. So we are going to talk about those 3, and then there's a couple big announcements that they saved for last, and we'll do that. We'll do the same thing. We'll save those for last. And they also had a Deadpool and Wolverine panel, which I will say that they showed a screening of it and brought some people out from the movie, and I will say no more on that front because they went for it in terms of who they flew out to Comic-Con. But yeah, in terms of, new details, what we got for these 3, 2025 movies, notably absent, again, Blade. Blade is still apparently on the release calendar for November of 2025, what was completely MIA, probably doesn't have a finished script, still doesn't have a director, still has Mahershala Ali attached.
That's all we got.
It's the very definition of development hell, right?
Yes, very much so. So I think anyone expecting Blade to actually be coming out in 2025, I have a bridge to sell you. So they don't think that's happening. But we know that Captain America Brave New World is happening. So some new details to add based on what we talked about earlier. Anthony Mackie was there. Tim Blake Nelson was there. He's back. He's playing Samuel Stearns, a.k.a. the leader. Danny Ramirez was there. He's playing Joaquin Torres, who is expected to be probably the new Falcon, since now Falcon is no longer Falcon. And Giancarlo Esposito was there, and he confirmed he confirmed who he's playing. He'd been saying for a long time, like, no one on the internet has guessed who I'm playing. And everyone's like, there's a lot of Marvel characters. There's a lot of people on the internet. Almost certainly someone has guessed who you're playing. I think last time we checked in on this, we're like, he's playing a character named George Washington Bridge. He's not playing a character named George Washington Bridge. He is playing a character named Seth Volker, a.k.a. Sidewinder, the leader of the Serpent Society. So that's who he is.
That's a deep cut.
Okay.
So I think he was right. No one fucking guessed that. I don't think he was wrong.
He could have played Charles Xavier, Magneto, but he was like, nah.
Magneto.
Nah, I want this guy.
Osborn.
I want this guy.
Nah. I want to be Sidewinder.
That guy.
So some of you may recall, Serpent Society was the fake joke title for Captain America Civil War once upon a time when they did like an announcement of that, obviously Civil War coming out. But the Serpent Society, it's an organization of snake-themed supervillains. I don't know that they necessarily have snake superpowers. I think they just are like, I'm a snake.
In the comics, sometimes they're straight up like in snake. I think they're actually... like in snakes, they're not even suits. I think they're like part snake.
Yeah,
and they're just like slither around,
like reptilian. I don't know exactly what's going on there. But Serpent Society. My guess is it's probably a little bit more of a grounded Serpent Society, aka no one's in big snake armor or snake suits or whatever. More just like they use code names that are the names of snake species. Snakes? That's kind of my guess.
Okay.
So that's who he's playing. Harrison Ford was there too. He did a big Red Hulk roar on stage. Just for everyone. He probably got paid extra to do it, but
he'll do it.
They showed footage from it. Anthony Mackie teased Tom Holland about the fact that he finally has his own fucking movie. There's that, and one I think. really interesting nugget is that this is going to be a pseudo Eternals follow-up. They've confirmed that this will follow up on the fact that there's a big giant fucking frozen statue being in the ocean, and what that looks like for the universe. And what that looks like for the universe is that celestial has an element by the name of adamantium that is going to be part of the plot. Is mining, I guess, adamantium from Tiamat, the celestial. So some extra details on Captain America: Brave New World. Move the needle for anyone in any direction? We feeling any different? Adamantium's in there. Harrison Ford is still there. He's
it is a lot of stuff.
Red Hulk still.
I will say this is
a lot of stuff.
This is
Too
a
much
lot
stuff,
of things. Maybe? I don't know. You could make it work, but certainly it's like
I'd still.
There's a lot
Serpent
going
Society
on
to
here.
me. Serpent Society's got to be.
It's got to be like a 5-minute
that's
thing.
that like never mentioned again.
The cross,
at least
guy.
Within that movie. Yeah, I think that's the only way that works. Is Serpent Society is your opening villain, and I don't think you kill, like, if you kill Giancarlo, I'll be pissed. But I think you can have the Serpent Society as kind of just, recurring villains and things, and that would probably be fine. Just like what are these weird snake fucks doing now? Like that would be fine. Is it a waste of Giancarlo? Yeah, probably.
Totally.
But that's how I am envisioning that. I don't think in a movie with Red Hulk and a leader that the Serpent Society is going to be the big bad, right? So,
I feel confident that they will repurpose or give this guy more substance,
something to do. Multiverse. They could cast him as someone else, or
That's
they could
true.
just say
You could
Serpent
be any
Society. You can be anyone in the multiverse, unless you play Kang, and we don't recast. Kang.
We can.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We can't recast Kang. That's the one character, even though it's the only character in comic book history that notoriously looks very different depending on his iteration.
We can have different Thaddeus.
We will not do that.
Ross. We can have different.
We can recast Ross.
Machine.
We can recast War Machine. We can reuse Gemma Chan. From movie to movie as different characters. But we will not do that. We will not do that. No, thank you, good sir. So, all right, let's move on to Thunderbolts Asterisk, which, again, still seems to be the title for some reason. It's just the symbol. It's not spelled out, so there is that. It does have that going for it. But they brought out director Jake Schreier, stars Geraldine Viswanathan, Lewis Pullman, Hannah John Kamen, Wyatt Russell, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, and dressed up in full costume as the Red Guardian, David Harbour. He was there. But details on the Thunderbolts. Not a lot of details. I think a lot of it was David Harbour being, big goofy Russian guy, in full costume. They did show some footage showing off kind of things. The tease or the setup seems to be that all of these individual characters have been assigned to do the same job. And that's how they kind of get linked up at a certain point. Probably assigned by, one would assume, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, who has a very long name Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Is that right? No one knows. No one can confirm that. There's no way to know if that's right or not. But yeah, kind of a lot of Marvel misfits coming together. Random kind of B-plot characters: Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, U.S. Agent from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, White Widow from Black Widow, White Widow from Black Widow, Red Guardian from Black Widow, and Bob. Bob is here. The Sentry, maybe. They didn't confirm, but he's the fucking Sentry. So,
okay.
So yeah, I feel like they were still kind of cagey on this. Like, we don't really know the full, like, what is this sort of thing, other than, again, bringing in some kind of random pieces in the MCU and bringing them in some sort of team type of movie, team up sort of movie. But are we feeling any particular way about Thunderbolts, either of you? Based on general things, based on anything that came to light during this panel that I've just told you about, I guess, as well?
I think I need a trailer for it. It's one of those that I'm like, there's some interesting people here. There's some things, but I'm like, I'm having still a hard time picturing this movie coming together. And maybe they can sell me with a trailer, just seeing it on the screen. I think until then, I'm open to it, but I'm not like day one Thunderbolts. I'm like day two.
Day two.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like it. I'm day two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually the best way to put it. I'm day 2. It sounds to me, I mean, I would very much have, the Sentry's a pretty cool character. But the rest of it kind of just sounds like the last one with, I guess the Black Widow movie.
Yeah, it does seem to be, if anything, closest to a Black Widow sequel in terms of cast carrying forward.
If I recall correctly, that didn't do a lot for me.
Fair.
I think that your recollection is correct. Yes.
I think.
God,
I think this movie.
That was like 4 years ago now. 3 years ago. I don't know. It was a long time.
I mean, it should have been made like 20 years ago, but
I think that's what it was. It was a movie that was 5 years too late when it came out.
Right.
Then,
It's
hard
still a
to,
couple years ago.
shouldn't hold it against it. But I mean,
I think this one
they literally said it 5 years earlier.
does have a long-haired Bucky, is what I saw.
Oh, okay.
So
I think I saw something about. I think
I was
Wyatt
like,
Russell
ooh.
said something that Bucky's maybe a congressman or something like that.
What?
So
I don't know, man.
Bucky Barnes
He killed a lot of people.
Congressman, I don't know.
I'm not saying it's his fault.
Hey, I mean,
But directly.
we've seen who can make it into office,
Yeah.
So, murderous past, not a big deal, perhaps. You didn't know what he was doing. You didn't know he was brainwashed by the Russians, the fucking commies, man.
Yeah.
So, it's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, I give me a trailer. I agree with that. I'll wait and see. I think the Thunderbolts could be really cool, could be really interesting. I liked Black Widow, I think, better than both of you. But at the same time, I'm kind of just like, I don't know. I don't know enough about this to really form a strong opinion of this is going to be bad, or like this is firmly in the middle of I have no fucking idea. Yeah. And also the asterisk is still weird. What is that? What are we doing here? Why is it there? Because when I make the episode art for it, if it's still there when that's the final title, I'm going to have to put it in there and be like, oh, it looks wrong. It looks bad. I don't like it. But speaking of titles, the Fantastic Four First Steps. First Steps. That's a subtitle. It's getting a subtitle. I guess maybe they felt like, we've already made
There's
3
too
movies
many.
that have the Fantastic Four.
They're
adding
future-proofing it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it worked for the Batman. They just added the in front of it, and people were like, no, there's only one Batman. There's, a Batman Begins, and then there's the Batman. No one is conflating Batman, although to be fair, most people just call it Batman 1989, I guess, or at least I do.
Yeah.
So, Batman 89 for short. So, I don't know. The Fantastic Four First Steps. It had not begun filming as of Comic-Con, but they did bring out the whole cast, the four themselves, the Fantastic Four themselves, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss-Backrack, and Joseph Quinn were all on stage to share some new details about the movie, joined by director Matt Shakman. So it's shooting now. Okay. They shot a fantastic car across the stage. I think it was like a blow-up thing. And it had music from composer Michael Giacchino, who is going to be scoring the movie, a detail we learned. Now, they did show some test footage, pre-shoot material, which showed Pedro as Reed, teaching some stuff. Okay. They showed the Thing on some sort of dating show, it like that. They showed all of them kind of in their like spacesuit gear. It's being described as, and this is kind of true in the footage, which is on the internet. If you look hard enough, I won't put it there. I don't want anyone. I don't want the mouse coming after me. It's described as being set in a retro future of the 60s. I think the idea is multiverse saga. This is going to take place in a different universe from ours, and in a way that Deadpool and Wolverine is a different universe from the mainline MCU. Okay. This is a different universe. So that's what's going on with that. And the footage ended with an early look at the Big G himself peeping into a building. So we saw a very quick, anyone that saw the footage, saw a very quick look at Galactus. Partial shot, obscured, mostly just like a face through a building, but confirmed big man with big face. Cloud. Confirmed not Cloud, which is great.
But big enough to look through a window.
Yeah, so like
big enough. I think small enough is probably.
I mean, that's the way to phrase that, right?
Yeah.
So like you could, yeah. So
I mean, think of like a skyscraper.
Could be a really big
like
building.
A big window, and then like there's. Like I don't think they're looking through, our window kind of thing. I don't think Galactus.
But it's like a floor window, right?
Yeah, he seemed. I mean, I think it's a higher window of like
a wall of
probably
glass.
Baxter Building type
Yeah.
thing.
Size
Yeah,
of a
big
floor.
wall of
Right.
glass,
Right.
whole windows, and you can see a big Galactus peeping in type
Yeah.
thing. So he looks like a big man. Maybe
Sounded
he's not the
big.
biggest man that we've ever seen. Like,
He's big.
I'd assume
He's
he'd be like roughly
size of a building.
celestial sized, but also
Yeah.
the Celestials I think were kind of inconsistent in terms of scale. I think that's the tough thing is like even when we do like Godzilla, the scale is always kind of wonky here and there.
Like, how's he
you
going to
can't
eat the
quite get it
planet
right.
if he's the size of a building?
Maybe
He'd
he
be
grows.
eating the planet for a long time.
It's like the
grows.
snakes that eat the things and like their stomach just
Yeah.
expands or whatever.
And he just
they,
gets bigger.
yeah, he could just
He
see
takes
some
bites
size
out of
scaling.
it. He cuts it up and like fries it, and then like takes little bites.
Well, maybe that's what it is. And when Galactus is really hungry, the less he eats, the smaller he gets. So he has to stay at his
It's a
normal
hungry
size, and the only way to
Galactus,
do that
yeah.
is to eat planets.
Oh,
so
boy.
he's a
hungry.
lithe, thin, and hangry sort of Galactus,
Yeah.
perhaps. And he sounds like the Green Knight, which is cool. So. Yeah, it's got that. It's got
is cool.
that sort of
I
shit.
agree.
So that's the Fantastic Four first steps. That's what we got. I think it got a pretty good response in the room. I think of the three, I'm going to just say this is what I'm most excited for, is hopefully getting the Fantastic Four right for the first time in film history. So yeah, what do you guys think? And does this intrigue you? Are you excited for the Fantastic Four first steps? How are we feeling?
Oh yeah, I mean the cast is great. I think I could really see all four of these as they're designated, even though it's not like the classic or necessarily the most comic accurate. Like I just really see these actors in these roles, and I don't know, the name doesn't do too much for me, but I think you have to nail this film. Like I think so much of the future of the MCU probably rides on this, and I don't think it's an easy story to get right, but I think setting it in the 60s, doing it in a kind of a different vibe, different universe is probably the right way to do it inside of a cinematic universe. So it's one where you kind of briefly tell me about the plot and I'm getting excited because I can see the potential there, whereas some of these other projects I kind of need to see the final project to really make a decision. I'm pretty on board day one for this one.
Yeah, I think the 60s aesthetic
That's just
alone
cool.
kind of gets me
helps.
really excited about it.
Turtlenex.
Like it just feels like a really great fit
turtlenecks.
for these characters particularly. Like that wouldn't work for most of Marvel's, ensemble, but for these four.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
Does that happen? You guys get hurricanes and
I never
tropical
get
storms, I
fucking
think.
turtlenecks. I have to wear fishing gear every day because I sweat like a fucking pig. It's terrible.
There's no
All right,
fishing
well, turtleneck
turtlenecks?
or not, what do you think about the Fantastic Four first steps?
I out of everything aside from Blade, which is just
I've never heard of that.
never
I
gonna
just
happen.
want,
Is
I
that
just
a
want
movie?
a little bit of news from Blade, right?
Here's your news. It's not happening.
Right, exactly, pretty much.
Not anytime soon, anyway.
I am most excited for Fantastic Four. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That is
All right.
that's the if I was at the Comic-Con, all the things that I know that were announced.
This is still number one. Top
This
of
is
the
the
list.
number one. This is the number one.
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to get to the one last thing because I think I'm going to break this news down because I think there's one component of this that is very very interesting, and I think I want to talk it out with you guys and see how everyone's feeling on it. But the Kevin Feige brought back a couple gentlemen who are familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, have directed a few films for it. He brought them on stage. Those two gentlemen are named Anthony and Joe Russo with the announcement
heard
that
of
they
them.
are back. They are back off the backs of directing the likes of Captain America, Winter Soldier, Captain America, Civil War, Avengers, Infinity War, Avengers, Endgame. They will be directing back-to-back Avengers films, which will release in May 2026 and May of 2027. So the first of those we will come back to. The second of those is the previously announced Avengers Secret Wars. So I think they've talked about it in the past. Like the one thing that might get them back, into Marvel's, pocketbooks or or whatever would be Secret Wars, because that was something that they really, really loved back in the day, like reading comics and stuff growing up. So they're back.
The show kind of shit on them a little bit. That's unfortunate. So wait, we talking about Secret Wars?
Yeah.
Well, Secret Wars or Secret Invasion is
different. Okay,
yeah, different things. Different things.
That's why
yeah.
I'm not an expert. Okay, so
different things. Thankfully, Secret Invasion.
Although
best
if only they had
left
done
out of the memory banks,
they could have done Secret Invasion, and it would have been.
They would have done a much better job of Secret Invasion than whoever the fuck did Secret Invasion. I think.
I think mostly.
But it's an interesting kind of thing. Obviously, they've gone on and done other things, I think, that haven't done all that well. They did the Tom Holland Apple movie where Tom Holland is a military man, but he's robbing banks maybe because he's down on his luck. They did Chris Evans versus Ryan Gosling and The Gray Man on Netflix.
Gray Man, yeah. Silver Man.
They produced Extraction 2, bringing back Tyler Rake, to extract people again and probably beat up some kids. I never actually watched it, but hopefully beat up some kids.
Did that already come out?
He had the Riot Shield. Yeah, it came out like last year, I think.
Extraction 2 already came out?
Dude.
Yeah, it came out a long time ago. I didn't watch it. I saw the trailer for it. It had the Riot Shield on fire moment. And I was like,
I gotta watch
shit
that.
Out of kids.
I gotta watch that.
It's the first one he does. And the first one he does for sure.
Yeah. I watched the first one.
And the second one too. Anyway, it kind of makes sense in some ways. I feel like they haven't had, Avengers levels of success beyond the Avengers, which is not surprising. No, those are some of the highest grossing movies of all time, but they haven't even come close. I think is also the other thing. I think middling critical reception to all of them, not, probably recouping what has been spent on them, blah, blah, blah. So maybe this is kind of like, I'm stealing things from the internet. Credit to the internet. You could not live with your own failure, and where did that bring you? Back to me. That's kind of, I think, what people are looking at this as.
The mouse's arms are always open. Back home.
You're like, we'll take you back, and it makes sense. They've been directors that have been attached to these Avengers movies that have stepped in, stepped out, and I think as things have been somewhat reconfigured, as again we'll get to when we talk about that first one, which is somehow the more interesting announcement of this. But yeah, Russo brothers back in the fold. Avengers something and Avengers Secret Wars. How do you guys feel? Are you excited to see the Russos return? Does this feel like a good fit? Did you want new blood? How are you feeling?
I think yes for all those questions. Like, it makes sense. I like the Russo brothers. I like their Avengers films and Winter Soldier, but I wouldn't have minded some new blood. I think it would have. I don't think this is a desperation move necessarily. I think it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But okay. It does make me like, okay, we can do things that worked. Are we gonna do new things too? I don't know, but it's Avengers. Like, they're the team up guys. I think ultimately it makes sense.
Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, they know how to make good movies. They know how to make action-packed movies.
Good superhero movies at least.
Good superhero movies, good character moments, set pieces, and payoff. Payoff to
like even
at that
like
point a decade worth of storytelling.
You take the Extraction.
They did that.
I mean, if they were given better written material, then you would have something different. You know what I mean? But they do a good job of directing they do a good job with direction. You know what I mean? Capturing the moments that they want to capture. They're good for superhero movies. So yeah, it's totally fine. Totally okay with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think great. I think it makes a lot of sense for both parties. So yeah, good fit. Bring it on. I'm stability with the MCU is not a bad thing. Bringing back someone who's done it, and made some of the biggest movies of all time. I think, yeah, maybe that makes more sense than bringing in someone who might be a little in over their head. I think there was even talks that they were trying to get Sean Levy, who directed Deadpool and Wolverine, to do at least one of the Avengers movies. And so, we obviously haven't talked about Deadpool and Wolverine yet, but it's got a similar sort of thing of juggling a lot of things happening. Maybe not Avengers level things happening, but still, could have been a good fit, could have been interesting. But I think, again, going back to Old Faithful here is not a bad move. And I think, interestingly, one of the writers is back from.
I was gonna ask
from the
who's
Avengers
currently. I know we've talked about this all the time, but
yeah, so
Michael Waldron is no longer writing it.
I think that maybe he wrote a draft of some sort that they'll work from. But my understanding is basically they are bringing back Stephen McFeely.
So half the
this.
team,
And he co-wrote it with Christopher Marcus. You know, he all the Russo brothers Marvel movies. Those two wrote along with the first Avenger, which was not a Russo brothers movie. But so they're bringing one half of the writing team so far. Maybe more will come. You know, but there's not that much time to work on these things, especially if they're filming them back to back. So they're gonna have to.
Who's doing Rick and Morty? Just clearly they like those guys, so just grab somebody from there.
Written by Dan Harmon, probably. I don't know.
You think Dan Harmon's gonna write this?
Well, or they could get Justin Roiland in. He's free probably. So he's probably free.
Nice.
They could get whoever they recast to do the voices for Rick and Morty, since Mr. Roiland found himself out of a job. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, there's one more announcement to talk about, and that is the first Avengers movie, The Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Oh, wait, no more. The Kang Dynasty has been killed, as we said. Kang died. Kang was definitively killed by Ant-Man.
I guess he did die. Sure.
Jonathan Majors' career was definitively killed by his own actions. And Marvel Studios says it is time to wipe our hands clean of this character that people did not seem to respond well to. And maybe it's high time that we introduce a fan favorite villain to lead an Avengers movie, Thanos style.
Oh yeah.
But we're not gonna bring Thanos back. That would be too much. What we are gonna do is release a movie in May 2026 by the name of Avengers Doomsday. We are going to introduce Victor Von Doom.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, everyone's fucking
That's
stoked
huge.
right now. We're fucking hyped, right? We're
Doom.
fucking all in on this shit.
Doom is the most bad. He's got to be one of the most badass villains, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. But that's not all. Maybe, just maybe, they have found the man to play Doctor Doom himself. Maybe they have found the man who can play Victor Von Doom.
Mikkelsen, that's who I was
Could be,
guess. That'd be perfect.
could be Mads Mikkelsen. He's already been someone in Marvel though. But
it's fine.
I mean, surely that's a disqualifier. That might be a disqualifier.
Maybe you can get his brother. His brother will do.
Yeah, he could
Cillian
get
Murphy.
Lars could do it. Cillian Murphy could be a brilliant Doctor Doom. I saw Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Jamie Lannister, Jamie Fulkin Lannister could have been a Doctor Doom. Maybe, I don't know. But you know, there was a group of green cloaked figures that walked on stage wearing Doctor Doom masks.
Oh shit!
And one of them
like
stepped
Doom
forward.
Bots?
Yeah, they're like Doom bots. Yeah, actually, they are wearing different colors, and there there's a leader. There's a mysterious man wearing. This is all very silly because anyone listening to this has heard this like a month ago. But there's no suspense here. One man steps forward, and he's got some sunglasses underneath, or maybe he put them on after he took the mask off. Unclear. But wouldn't you know it, Victor Von Doom is going to be played by none other than Robert Downey Jr., the greatest actor of all time, apparently.
Oh man!
I mean, he's a damn good actor.
New mask, same task. So says Downey.
Is that really what he says?
That's what he said. Yeah. That's what he said. And the fanboys are woo. You know, everyone's losing their minds because it's Robert Downey Jr.
It's Robert Downey Jr. Like,
we like him. He won an Oscar. He won an Oscar for that movie. They won an Oscar for that movie, Prometheus.
He won an Oscar.
Right?
Yeah.
American Prometheus, Oppenheimer.
He started this whole thing, right? Like
he did. That is true.
It started in a cave
without
with
Robert
a box
Downey
of scraps.
Jr. Avengers Doomsday would not be a movie. It is
right.
A box of scraps.
But true. Now it's literally you live long enough and you see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
And he has.
True. So, all right. I am getting the sense that none of us are overly enthused by this. It feels kind of like, well, you know, you could have cast literally any other actor that doesn't already have like the biggest fucking role in Marvel so far to play.
It just doesn't make any sense. There's so many fucking people.
The biggest, baddest motherfuckers out there.
Endless resources. Marvel has endless resources.
They have endless resources, which is how they're paying Robert Downey Jr. to be in these movies. So you are correct from one standpoint.
So financially, it doesn't make any sense. Right?
They're spending a lot of money on this. I think it's financially, it makes sense from a standpoint of we think Robert Downey Jr. will get asses in seats, which may be true. We think it will get more asses in seats than having some other guy play Doctor Doom, perhaps. I mean, that has to be the thinking, right? Unless there's a very specific story reason for it, aka Tony Stark variant is Doctor Doom. That to me. It has. Why would you do this unless you are doing some sort of multiverse type of thing? That's to me the only way that this really truly makes sense. Because otherwise you're spending $100 million on Robert Downey Jr. and that's a third. Yeah. That's like a third of your already insane budget just going to one man kind of deal. Like it has to be something. This is the multiverse saga. Play fast and loose with double casting shit like that. That to me, and I will say, I don't like that idea. I would rather just see Doctor Doom played by someone else. But I think if you're doing it this way, that's the way that makes the most sense. And maybe one other alternative, which I can throw out in a second. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that how you're kind of like leaning on where this might go?
I think it has to be. It's any other way, and it's gonna be so silly. It's like, don't you look like Iron Man? Like, nah, I get that all the time.
Who? That's not me. Yeah.
Even the multiverse thing, I'm not a fan of. I want an Eastern European fucking
Romani. Maybe a Romani Doctor Doom.
Yeah, totally. He comes in with his accent.
Get a white guy.
It's all this, and it's just his badassery. Like he lives in a fucking castle and shit. That's cool. That's what I want.
Like he just manipulates the whole Secret Wars.
Like
yeah.
I mean, I've wanted Doctor Doom to come in ever since the city fell. What is that? What was that? Phase 1, Phase 2, or whatever?
Like Sokovia, or
yeah. Thought I'd just have him from Sokovia. You know what I mean?
Or Latveria is built from the ruins of Sokovia.
Yeah,
and when you have a dictator that takes over this devastated country, I feel like I've seen that. Posited as a fan theory for a long time. Yeah.
I don't need Robert Downey Jr. to be Iron Man. It just seems unimaginative.
Desperate.
It just seems
this one does seem a little bit desperate.
And it seems like maybe they like when DC kind of like shit the bed and went, hey, listen, we're just going to clear shop and we're going to hire James Gunn to do it. It seems like maybe Marvel hired some of the suits. Like, hey, I got an idea. Let's just have Robert do it. Call Rob. Robbie will do it for
we can get Robert Downey Jr. Maybe. I mean, let's say Scarlett can probably pull double duty. Because her character's dead, so we can bring her back. Any character that's dead, bring him back in some way. I don't know. To me, the only other way that this makes sense and maybe could work, and again, still comes back to the same point of I still don't think they should do it this way, and they should have just cast someone else. Is V for Vendetta style, mask the whole time, voice only. Maybe he's in, physically in costume, but no face revealed, voice transformation. At which point, why are you casting Robert Downey Jr. and paying him $100 million to do this? And to kind of go back to the point, if you're gonna double cast, goddamn, Mads was right there. You know what I mean? Like if you are not opposed to doing that, like that would have been fucking cool.
He's done the Marvel. What if
I don't know.
What if you make it into like instead of Eastern Europe, you just go a little bit over to like Western Asia, or I don't know, something go a little bit even more east, and you have Hiroyuki Sanada doing a Doctor Doom like that.
Yeah, again, someone who had a tiny ass role in Endgame. No one remembers that. It's fine.
That requires inspiration. That's an inspired choice.
Inspired.
This is just fucking.
Well, what if
we don't
Robert
have
Downey
to do
Jr.?
extra paperwork because he's already on payroll. Like we're already paying him. We'll just increase the pay a little bit.
Yes. I gotta say, I was following these Comic-Con announcements like a hawk. I was somewhere. I was somewhere in some sort of social setting where I'm supposed to be like acting normal and not, not reacting to things, like I would be a fanboy at San Diego Comic-Con. And it felt like Christmas, and it just felt like Santa gave me a box of coal a little bit. And it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. It's not, we ran out of money, so we're shutting down the studio. We're done. So everything's done. We're killing everything halfway through. Or it's not Jonathan Majors, he's redeemed himself. He's back. He is going to anchor the universe moving forward. Jonathan Majors will be playing Kang variant as Doctor Doom, and then he will also be mainline Kang, and also he will be the Yonder. Like, you know, I'm like, all right, at least they weren't doing some weird shit. And also, Mel Gibson is Doctor Doom, and then also, you know, Tucker Carlson is here. He is the new head of Marvel Studios. You know, like they didn't get completely.
Gina Carano is the new
there.
Black Widow.
Gina Carano is the Black Widow. She's back. She's been revived off screen. It's fine. Now she's buff and cool now. You know, they did all right. Christ. It could have been worse. It could have been worse, right? You know, it could have been worse. But this does not thrill me. And it sucks because it's Doctor Doom, and it just feels like, you know, I've seen people being like, oh, well, this is just multiverse Doctor Doom, and we'll get the real Doctor Doom down the line. It's like, yeah, we did that with the Mandarin sort of already. And it's like, you shouldn't make it a habit of doing worse, different versions of a character just so you can do the better version of it down the line. And like, I will say, Tony Leung's, you know, Mandarin was not comic accurate, but was fucking badass as shit and a great villain in Shang-Chi. But that's not the model you want, right? You know, so I leave Comic-Con feeling a little deflated. I think, you know, good things to look forward to from Marvel, but they really are going to have to sell me on this. They're really going to have to sell me on this. I'm not sold on you know, and do I think Robert Downey Jr. as an actor has the chops to be completely transformative and be a great Doctor Doom? 100% yes. Fantastic actor, totally has the range for it. Could nail it. Probably will nail it. Am I still going to find it super distracting, or is it going to be a multiverse situation, in which case, why are we doing this in the first place? I think all those questions are still going to linger for me and maybe ultimately hold back, you know, my enjoyment of Doomsday, which I think if you're doing a Kang replacement, you know, we talked as far back, I feel like, as Jonathan Majors' legal troubles of maybe they're going to bring in Doctor Doom, and I kind of scoffed at it, and like, it's fucking Kang. He's the multiverse guy. You can cast anyone. It's easy, you know. Like, I mean, you know, optic-wise, you don't recast him with a white guy, but you know, like, I don't know. I think that's what it comes down to is the storyline was not delivering in the way they wanted it to, and people were not, you know, and if you bring in a new character, bring in Robert Downey Jr., who you know people already love, maybe that just that generates the excitement and the enthusiasm in the way that Kang doesn't. For enough people that it's worth it to do it that way. For the three of us, okay, we'll see what happens. You know, so
it's weird.
Yeah, I've come to terms with it since it came out, but I am not happy about it either. It doesn't. I'm not like, you know, I'm not rioting. You know, I'm not bringing the pitchfork down to Marvel Studios or anything like that. But it does shake my confidence a little bit, and what the hell is going on with the higher ups there? Like, you know, is Kevin Feige doing a little bit of that? You know, is Kevin Feige building a snowman? You know, is what I'm wondering. Because I just don't know. I just don't know what they got cooking over there. So anyway, final thoughts. Comic-Con, other trailers, anything else? We've got a Deadpool and a Wolverine to talk about. But what do you guys think? Anything else you want to say?
Viggo Mortensen. That's my
Viggo would have been good. Viggo would have been good. I think you can come up with a lot of names that would have been pretty good. Corey Feldman.
A lot of
Corey
inspired
Feldman.
picks.
He's back.
Yeah. You give him a couple $1 million, and hey, we'll do it.
Yeah. What could have been? But the real Doctor Doom's coming in like 5 years, and he's going to be fucking badass. Right. But he's going to be Mads, which is just a multiverse version of Caecilius. But then 5 years from that, we're going to get the real Doctor Doom, which is a lady, and people will be really upset about that. So before we jump into Deadpool and Wolverine, I did want to have a little bit of a sidebar, a little bit of a conversation with you guys. Andrew and I had grand visions of doing a bonus episode talking about the X-Men trilogy, the original X-Men trilogy from the early 2000s. Maybe even touching on some Wolverine movies, maybe some Deadpool movies. We did cover Deadpool 2 back in the day when it came out, early days of this podcast. But I think for the most part, we really have not covered a lot of the Fox X-Men movies because they came out for the most part when we were growing up, when we were kids. Somewhat into adulthood with First Class and Days of Future Past and Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, which we did also talk about. The New Mutants. Don't forget about the New Mutants. Everyone forgot about that one, but it's really good. They buried it during COVID and pretended it didn't exist because I think it technically happened after Disney bought Fox. But I wanted to. It's on Disney Plus. It's like fine. I will say it's not the worst X-Men movie, and there are some real bad ones. So I wanted to ask, did you guys watch anything, in preparation for Deadpool and Wolverine? We knew from the trailer that it was going to do some fun things with bringing back. I think we saw like a Sabretooth in one of the trailers, a Pyro's back. We could tell that it was going to play fast and loose with maybe bringing back some old school X-Men characters and honoring or making fun of, obviously the 20th Century Fox era. I think even in the trailer you see the 20th Century Fox logo partially buried in some sort of set piece. So yeah, did you guys do anything? We're going to do a pseudo bonus episode within this episode. It's going to make it all longer. Yeah, I know, but I want to talk about it. We want to do it for the people that were like, oh, I would have liked that bonus episode. Well, sorry, we ran out of time. I'm busy. Everyone's busy. But we can do it now. We can do it here and now. So yeah, what'd you guys watch, if anything?
Not enough. I mean, I've seen it all.
You wanted to watch more? We've all seen it. Yeah. Is there anything you haven't seen from the Fox side of things?
I barely did much. I got to Deadpool 1 because I was like, it's been a long ass time since I watched Deadpool. I meant to watch 1 and 2.
2016.
And then, and then if I had time, I was going to probably pick and choose some X-Men stuff. Probably the older ones. But, I've seen the X-Men and X2 in the past couple of years. I can't remember the last time I saw X-Men Last Stand. I was like, why? So not much, unfortunately.
Not much. Well, how was Deadpool 1 on a revisit?
It's a fun time. I think you clearly see the sequel into this. It probably, like a lot of comedies, is I think funnier the first time you watch it, just getting the jokes and everything. Sure. But it's still a very fun time. Like it's you see what they're going for, and it's pretty contained. It's not a whole ton of cameos. They make fun of not having more X-Men. Right. So
it's of the 3 Deadpool movies, somewhat obviously including the conversation we're about to have. It's the one where you notice the budget is low. And not in a bad way. I think it uses it maximizes it. Yeah. But when you think about it, it's got one highway set piece that's chopped into 5 different components. Mm-hmm. It's got the backstory and kind of the stuff that doesn't require as much visual effects, and then you've got the kind of helicarrier type aircraft carrier type sequence at the end, like the third act sequence, and that's kind of it. It's pretty basic in terms of the filmmaking of it. Because of budget restrictions, $58 million was the budget on that, and compare that just for comparison, $200 million for Deadpool and Wolverine. So huge fucking difference.
Right. Nuts. Totally nuts.
Or even compare it to, I don't know, a X-Men: The Last Stand.
Any of the X-Men. Really...
Budget $210 million. So your X-Men movies are getting close to 4 times the budget. And your Deadpool sequel is getting 4 times the budget. I'm sure even Deadpool 2 was at least twice. I would guess 110, so not close to twice. Big difference. So, but I feel like it does a lot with a little. Is that first Deadpool movie?
No, I think that's a fair assessment. But no, it's a fun time.
Characterization is peak. Fun Colossus, fun Negasonic Teenage Warhead stuff. You know,
I really like Colossus. I've always liked Colossus personally. It's just like he's a big old kind of hunk of steel with his own kind of sense of humor, and I'd love me some Colossus Kitty Pryde team up in the future.
Yeah, I feel like the thing about the Deadpool movies, which is true of the second one too, is it's like, we're just going to do comic book accurate things, the Fox X-Men is so classically afraid to do anything too comic booky because it's not cool. Whereas Deadpool was like, Colossus, he's actually big and he's Russian now. Which, the continuity of these movies absolutely fucked. Complete fucking nonsense. Not helped by Deadpool and Wolverine as well, but just complete fucking nonsense.
Juggernaut?
Juggernaut
Deadpool
from
2.
Deadpool 2 is just a big fucker, not Vinnie Jones,
Yeah.
you know. Oh,
Yeah.
oi, don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. You know, we're not getting that. Domino, although not comic book accurate, you know, because of reasons, you know. But she's great,
No,
very,
that
very
was
comic book
okay.
accurate. Cable, we got Cable,
pretty
you know, we
cool.
had Cable. You know, so like the Deadpool movies are like kind of the one lone Fox movies that feel like we're just gonna do it. It's rated R. We can just have fun with it. We can go for it and like not worry about like, oh, is this cool enough, or you know, like is this too edgy? Like it's like no, we're just fucking going for it. You know, and that's obviously credit to Ryan Reynolds and company pushing the boundaries of these things. But Deadpool movies are good fun. Good fun. Andrew, what about you? Did you watch anything?
I did. I watched them.
Maybe?
So I watched the original X-Men.
The original, okay. Number 1, 2000. Is that when that came out?
Yeah, I think it did.
July 14th, 2000. X-Men, yeah. Okay.
What a
How did
movie,
that hold
dude.
up?
What a
24
movie.
years on.
It's got a couple zingers. You know, it's a zinger movie.
Okay.
And that's cool. You know,
Prove it.
It's
You're a dick. All right.
I'll be honest with you. I think the older I get, and the things that used to get made, they don't get made anymore. I have more of an appreciation for those older things. You know what I mean? So like if we were to step back, you know, 10 years beyond that, I think that I haven't watched like an 80s Arnold movie in so long.
It might be nice to go back.
It might be nice to go back. Yeah, it's those kinds of movies don't. I watched on a side note. I watched an interview with I think it was on Hot Ones with Matt Damon. Matt Damon was on Hot Ones.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, and I think there was a question of like why aren't these particular movies being made anymore, right? And he's like, well, like, and he was talking about dramas. He wasn't talking about like 80s action movies with zingers, but he's like, well, because the model changed when you could stream it, you know, because studios intend to make money, you know, post when something goes out of theaters, you know, and you know, you can sell the DVDs, you can sell whatever. That just doesn't happen anymore. You stream it, and so the movies, the things that used to be made don't get made much anymore. You know, it's just totally different, just different stuff. They don't make that stuff anymore. Zingers are gone. When's the last time you watched a movie? Well, I guess with the exception of Deadpool, maybe.
But different though, different. You know,
different.
Certainly from
Definitely
a 2000
different.
X-Men.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, we got a baby Hugh Jackman in it. You know, he's not nearly as jacked as he gets, and his hair is not quite as ridiculous as it is in X2. But it's still a little bit more ridiculous than it gets in Deadpool and Wolverine, I guess. But
yeah, Halle Berry, she's in
Halle
this
Berry.
movie?
She's in it.
Cool.
Cyclops, James Marsden, he's in it.
Yeah, James Marsden. Yeah, and he's an asshole.
He's mostly standing around being like, "Hey, you know, don't talk to my girl." You know,
don't talk to my girl. Yeah.
It's a lot of good actors. I think playing the wrong roles is a little bit higher. Remember,
I don't even know if it's the wrong roles necessarily. It's so much as the nothing roles. Like Storm is not a character; is basically a non-entity. Cyclops is basically a non-entity, just a dick most of the time. Rogue is kind of, you know, very naive teenager who doesn't really have the sort of sass and character that like we saw in like 97 in the animated series.
I want to know how she finds herself. Like she runs away. Clearly she runs away after she almost kills her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. But she finds herself in like the middle of nowhere fucking Canada or wherever he's at. I mean, that's a highly effective job of running away, you know?
New York and Canada are right there.
It's a lot of hitchhiking.
Yeah, New York. Yeah, I guess it's true. She's in New York.
I mean, not really, but
it's close. But it just seems like, you know, she's in like suburban area, and then all of a sudden now she's like in this super wintry, out of nowhere area, you know, or out of, you know, bumfuck Egypt area, you know? Anyways, I had fun with it. I laughed. I thought it was pretty fucking great.
Okay. Did you watch anything else? Did you go on to X2, X-Men United?
Whenever I did my X-Men grind, Sarah and Baby were in Michigan watching Michael play baseball.
Okay.
And I watched X-Men on Saturday night, and then Sunday I woke up. catching up. I have a CPAP now. I can wake up really early in the morning and feel like I've got unlimited amounts of energy. Yes. So I woke up at like 7 o'clock and started watching Deadpool. And I watched Deadpool 1 and 2 to catch a double feature.
You went straight from X-Men to Deadpool 1 and 2 to the theater.
Exactly.
Is that what
exactly
same day.
No, almost. Oh, well, Deadpool was 1, 2. It was a Deadpool day. Deadpool 1, 2, and 3. X-Men and Wolverine.
And then also Twisters, right?
And then Twisters. Yeah, it was a movie day, dude. I haven't had a movie day in a long time.
Damn.
The first Deadpool was like sub 2 hours, so that's but that's pretty impressive. That's a pretty impressive run right there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Deadpool 1. I had a really good time with it. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I forgot. I thought it was a really decent movie.
I think 1's great. I think 2's where it gets a bit messier. Like
it does get messier.
I had fun with it, but it's doing a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a couple there's a lot of little things that I appreciate. Like there's always like one Deadpool song.
Okay.
I like the needle drops. Yeah.
Like sexy motherfucker. Or whatever it was. It was pretty good. And then holy shit balls, like the
holy shit balls. Juggernaut, the Juggernaut theme,
song.
I guess. Yeah,
thought that was pretty great. I also really liked the Juggernaut in the second one too.
Yeah,
I thought he was pretty awesome.
The comic accurate Juggernaut.
He's a big fan of ripping people in half and trying to stick people up each other's butts or something like that.
Man, that's what the Juggernaut does.
Yeah, I thought it was totally awesome. I don't know. I really enjoyed him. Josh Brolin was a total badass in that second one.
He was pretty cool.
Some real cool stuff. I enjoyed. I don't know. I think they're. I think they're inspired movies. To use that word again.
I have to cut you off.
Yeah.
I think this is just a Wikipedia edit that I am happening to catch at the right time or the wrong time, depending on your perspective. I was just looking at Deadpool. It's like, let me look at it. Let me conjure some thoughts about it. And like the final paragraph in the intro is the film received anus reviews from critics. So considering I was like, what? I think someone's having a little fun on Wikipedia. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it caught me off. It caught me off guard.
Yeah.
So Deadpool 2, you think it's better than an anus in terms of reviewing it, is what you'd say.
I don't know. That could be a positive thing.
But I mean, you might be a butt man, so I don't know. An ass man. If you're an ass man, then maybe that's a high compliment. Maybe that's what it means.
There was a lot of ass in this one too. There was or was it one of the Deadpools?
They probably conflate now because you watched them back to back to back.
Yeah, that's true. There's one like when he's suiting up, it's just repeatedly.
That's this one.
Yeah,
it's
pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's funny. I think with the Deadpool 2 specifically, I found the kid to be really fucking annoying, which sucks because I liked him a lot in Hunt for the Wilder People. Felt like they were just trying to make that character as annoying as possible for some reason. The Vanessa treatment of fridging her early on, even though it does get time reversed at the end, I thought was pretty disappointing because it just feels like lazy, hacky storytelling. But it has some great stuff in it. Beyond Juggernaut, the X-Force stuff is great, and then the horrible deaths of all of X-Force is pretty fantastic. Brad Pitt cameo is Vanisher, a classic. Yukio, hi Yukio, and it had a lot of fun with it, and so there's a lot of really good stuff in Deadpool 2. But I recalled finding it to be somewhat messy and not great. And also, again, we have an episode on it, so this may or may not mirror my thoughts from 2018.
Jesus Christ, we've been doing it that long.
That's right. Upon revisiting it, I enjoyed it, but I still think the first one is way better. But
totally,
we'll have to talk about where the third one stacks up, but we'll get there. But the other things that I watched, because it sounds like that's everything you guys did in prep, right?
Yeah,
just to leave it there.
Yes.
So I did, in fact, watch the original X-Men trilogy, and I did also watch the Wolverine trilogy. I did not go on to First Class, Days of Future Past, and those, but I did watch Deadpool 1 and 2, but we touched on those. So that original X trilogy is 2/3 of pretty good movies. I think X2 holds up to this day.
Okay.
It's unfortunate that those first two movies are directed by a pedophile and Bryan Singer, but it is what it is. Hollywood's got some problematic people, and problematic people can still be talented in some ways.
Absolutely,
unfortunately.
for sure.
But
We've talked about that before.
Yeah, I think X2 is really good. I think it does a lot well. Stryker, Brian Cox as the villain is really good. Nightcrawler is fucking cool in it. The whole opening sequence has that White House attack.
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember that? Is fucking
that.
Awesome. That's great. You got Lady Deathstrike as a villain, who, you know, is like an interesting sort of... She's like not a character. She has no dialogue in the movie. She's just there to be like a blunt instrument. But I think her and Wolverine's kind of fight sequence at the end is pretty neat. And it gets a little bit more like Wolverine backstory in there, which is pretty cool. Introduces more Iceman and Pyro elements. Magneto. It's a good, fun, like, villain of the first one teaming up with the heroes, you know, because Magneto and the Brotherhood and Mystique are kind of basic. They're all kind of, you know, have to come together at some point. Which it should be said, true of really particularly 1 and 2. Patrick Stewart and Sir Patrick Stewart, excuse me, and Sir Ian McKellen are both fucking awesome in those roles as Charles and Eric, Professor X and Magneto, and obviously huge jacked man, Hugh Jackman. Really, obviously, I don't want to say he grew into the role, but he at a certain point took ownership of that role and never let go. You know what I mean? And I think Famke is a pretty good Jean Grey. I think Jean Grey stuff is interesting in X2. But then there's X-Men The Last Stand, and oh boy, you got another problematic man and Brett Ratner in there, and holy fuck, this movie fucking sucks ass. Holy fuck, it is fucking horrible. It is just as bad as you think it is, as you remember it. Andrew and I, when we first saw it, had a lot more fun because we had an interactive audience experience watching it, and I wish that I could replicate that, because that would be absolutely way more fun than watching this shit ass fucking movie, because it fucking sucks. Everything about it is disjointed and bad.
I can't remember what they were saying.
Everything's about it. The Phoenix stuff is bad. Cyclops gets vaporized within 5 minutes of it. Professor X gets vaporized in like 45 minutes. It's nonsense. Maybe if I have to offer any sort of praise, Kelsey Grammer, good casting for Beast, good choice there. And that's probably it. That's probably it.
Yikes.
You know, it's got the danger room sequence in the beginning with like a kind of goofy looking Sentinel thing, but
was that cool?
Really? No, it's kind of lame. In retrospect, it's kind of like looking back on it when we've seen like fucking insane, awesome, crazy ass Sentinel shit in X-Men 97. No, it's pretty fucking lame. So no, it's real bad. But fear not, the worst is yet to come. X-Men Origins Wolverine is here, and holy shitballs indeed. This movie is fucking horrendous. This I think is the worst X-Men movie out there. It is so egregiously bad. Parts of The Last Stand feel like a competently made movie with just like a bad script. There's no point in X-Men Origins Wolverine except for maybe the very beginning opening sequence where it kind of flashes through time as young James Howlett and Victor Creed go throughout time and fight in the wars, and, you know, building up to the point of kind of the, I guess, sort of modern day, or at least where it starts the movie, which I think is Vietnam War era, something like that. This movie is just bafflingly shitty. Like, everything about it is so fucking goofy. You know, bad Stryker, bad Will I Am is in this movie. Taylor Kitsch is in this movie. Ryan Reynolds is in this movie. Ryan Reynolds is in this movie doing a Wade Wilson Deadpool thing, but then they turn him into the Merc without a mouth. The CGI, this is the one where they use the CGI claws, and they look so terrible, and just the dialogue is bad. There is no good thing about fucking X-Men Origins Wolverine. It is just straight ass, my dude. The Wolverine, the next one, I thought was actually pretty good, except for the third act where it turns into a weird, you know, big giant fighting a giant robot set piece. I think he gets a little wonky, but that one does have Hiroyuki Sanada in it. He's playing a bit of a dick in it, but he's great as always. You know, Wolverine in Japan, I think, is a great like classic story, and it's done really well. I enjoyed it without it being, you know, like it's knocking on the door of being like really, really something good, but didn't quite get there. And then last but not least, rewatching Logan, man. Oof, man. Logan is a hell of a movie.
Logan.
And I will say this to the two people listening. If you're going to watch like one movie before you walk into Deadpool and Wolverine, I think Logan's a good thing to watch. Because it's independently great. It is not reliant on past X-Men movies. Deadpool and Wolverine is not reliant on Logan, but it definitely picks it up in some ways, and things in ways you might not expect it to, given the way that Logan ends. But Logan is a awesome, impactful, well shot, just movie, and Daphne Keene's great in it. That's X-23. Hugh Jackman is fucking giving it his all. Stephen Merchant is Caliban, man. He's great. I think Logan would have. Patrick Stewart is great in it. Yes, of course. I think that Logan came out probably right before the year that we started this podcast. So I think we would have talked about it like in our year in review type things, but I don't know that we've done a proper Logan episode. So I am a little sad that we're not doing a proper Logan episode, which isn't we could do it some point down the line.
Episode.
We could do it. There's no reason we can't do it. Maybe we could totally do it if we wanted to, but Logan's really good. And like my biggest issues with it back in the day were the clone Wolverine being the villain sort of thing. I didn't recall loving that, but I honestly thought it was fine. I think sometimes it's just like expectations, walking in the door, and then when you revisit it, you can kind of recalibrate and kind of know what you're getting into. And I think that helped, and I really, really did enjoy it. So that's what I did. Again, plus the Deadpools, skipped out on the other four kind of prequel-ish, sequel-ish, and the New Mutants. I did not revisit the New Mutants, but and I didn't revisit, I guess technically Fox obviously encompasses, they got old Fantastic Four movies, they've got, old Fantastic Four movies, and then Fant4stic, of course. We can't forget about Fant4stic, even though we all want to. I don't know if they did anything else. I think it was really... guess just kind of those two big franchises for a little while, but X-Men is obviously like the big money maker. That's why they made 3,000 of them. So anyway, that's what I did. So here's our bonus episode within an episode. We'll leave it there, and now we must finally move on and talk about Deadpool and Wolverine.
Let's fucking go.
Deadpool and Wolverine is in theaters now, written by 5 people: Ryan Reynolds, Red Reese, Paul Wernick, Zeb Wells, and Sean Levy. Directed by Sean Levy. Stars Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Emma Corrin, Marina Baccarin, Rob Delaney, Leslie Uggams, Aaron Stanford, and Matthew McFadden. And maybe some other people. Deadpool, in this movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, sometimes could have been called Deadpool and Friend. Deadpool is offered a place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe by the Time Variance Authority, the TVA, but instead recruits a variant of Wolverine to save his universe from extinction. So, before we get into non-spoilers, we have to do a box office breakdown for what could shape up to be box office breakdown. I'm touching myself. It's a little Deadpool thing. Not actually, just to be clear. But it's a Deadpool thing, in case anyone didn't get it. Deadpool and Wolverine might just be one of the... It's definitely going to be one of the biggest movies of the year, but it might just be the biggest movie of the year, potentially. But it is breaking records left and right. It is breaking a lot of records because this is a rated R movie, and let me tell you, it deserves its rating. It does deserve its rating. I've been to 2... I've seen it twice, and both times were with children. I'm like, that's questionable. That's probably questionable. I know it's a Marvel movie. I know it's, it's a popular superhero kind of thing. But it's very violent. It's questionable. It's questionable is what I'll say. For some of the age, I think, 13, whatever, okay, you still technically need a guardian to get in there, but fine, whatever. So opening day, including the Thursday night previews, this son of a bitch made $96 million. Wow. Both records for R-rated movies. Exceeded predictions for its opening weekend, grossing $211.4 million in North America and $444.6 million worldwide. Biggest opening ever for any R-rated movie, surpassing the likes of Joker, I think was the previous record holder. It's the biggest opening of 2024 so far, eclipsing Inside Out 2, which opened with $154 million. And again, to reiterate, we didn't cover that because it's probably a movie that Andrew will watch at home with Baby B at some point. It's the 6th biggest opening of all time, period.
God
That was the end of that step, man. Has recovered its reported budget in roughly 2 days. It set the record for an R-rated film on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a non-preview Thursday. Dropped only 53% in its second weekend and scored $97 million. It is the highest-grossing R-rated movie of all time, beating out Jesus himself, the Passion of the Christ, because Marvel Jesus is here, as we all know. And right now it stands at $430.9 million in North America, plus $472 million everywhere else, for a worldwide total of $903.3 billion.
$903 billion?
$903.3 million.
I was like billion.
So, million, not billion. But I was getting ahead of myself.
Almost $1 billion for
this
Deadpool.
thing will eclipse $1 billion before long.
Ooh.
So it will absolutely clear the $1 billion mark, without question.
A rated R, super campy Deadpool movie.
This is unprecedented levels of success, even for, Marvel Studios, the juggernaut that they are, the juggernaut. This is crazy, and it's the first R-rated movie for Marvel Studios, the first R-rated movie in the MCU, and it is just shattering expectations, just absolutely dominating, crushing it. It doesn't face a lot of competition for a good while, so it is set to have a lengthy box office run with some good legs so far that will probably stand up. So right now it is technically the worldwide total. It's still the second highest grossing of 2024. Inside Out 2 did amazingly well worldwide, so it's well over $1 billion. So I don't know if Deadpool 2 will quite reach those heights for worldwide. But I think domestically, it's probably got a chance of being neck and neck with Inside Out 2, which is crazy. No, I take that back. Inside Out 2 made $630 million in North America alone. That's fucking absolutely batshit. But again, the fact that Deadpool 2 is even in the same conversation as Inside Out 2, which is a kids movie, which obviously has appeal beyond children, but kids movies, when they really hit, they really hit because they appeal. Anyone can see those movies and get so much out of them. Deadpool and Wolverine, well, it's got a little bit more limited built-in audience, obviously, because of how mature it is in terms of its rating and everything like that. So the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine is number 2 in this list is just absurd, and I think probably beyond even the wildest expectations that Feige and company had over at Marvel Studios. So huge numbers for Deadpool and Wolverine. Huge numbers, some might say. So now we can get into things. Finally, non-spoilers. Who would like to begin this conversation about Deadpool Wolverine and give some non-spoiler overall thoughts of their feelings about this movie?
I can talk about my experience.
I would love to hear it. What do you got?
So, we obviously watched it together, but we were supposed to watch it on an earlier time.
Oh, yes, your
opening day.
Your entire experience.
Day one.
Yeah.
We were day one. We were Thursday.
we booked when ticket sales became available.
Had it.
We knew it was going to fill up. It did.
We were set. Things were good to go, and then of course I got COVID, and it was going to be day like 4 or so, and I was actually feeling okay that day, but I was like,
yeah, it's a little borderline.
Just packed. I'm like, I don't need to be going around.
Super spreader
event. So I'll stay home and then go next week. So I waited a whole extra week. I didn't go see this until the Wednesday after opening weekend, and I avoided just about most, if not all, the cameos. Certainly like things from trailers I saw, but in terms of big spoilery things, I feel like I avoided most of them. So
which is very impressive, because literally, again, Thursday night they did a Comic-Con event where they showed this movie and brought out like cast members who had been previously unannounced. So like even as soon as like opening night, Marvel was already kind of opening the floodgates of like, everything's fair game at this point. The movie's out there for people to watch. So, you get spoiled. So I am very impressed with your, I don't know if it's a case of willpower, if you're just like, I'm not fucking loading Twitter up, or like what you did?
A little bit of both. I haven't been on Twitter as much, or X as they call it, but I think even the next day on Instagram, which I am on, like the official channel, or Ryan Reynolds like posted some stuff. It's like, here's me and this character and this actor and these people. Like, thanks so much for being in my movie, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh shit, this one day caught it one just it was late, but still good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
went in, had a good experience. I feel like we had a pretty good audience. Watched Adobe. It was fun. I had a lot of fun.
We had one random guy shouting at random points at the movie, but I think he was responding to the movie just very aggressively.
Right. Not the worst by any stretch.
No
of the
conversations.
No
so.
corn eaters or mashed potatoes.
No one eating corn. Just eating regular
foods.
Popcorn.
Actually, the people next to us had ordered shit from AMC. I don't know if it drifted into your nose, but I was sitting right next to it, and so they had a whole ass dinner. It was fine. I'm like, dude. I mean, it's the theater selling it.
It's like 7 o'clock.
What are you gonna do?
It's like 7 o'clock or whatever. But I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I enjoyed all the surprises and the cameos. I think it's one that if I don't think too hard about it, I'm gonna enjoy it more. If I try to nitpick it, I think you could probably
you could do that.
You could probably pick this movie apart very easily in terms of continuity and plot and just things that make sense and don't make sense. But I kind of view it as a type of dessert, and I was trying to find the right kind of dessert to equate it to, because I don't think it's not candy.
Sort of sweet treat.
It's got more substance than candy.
More
it's kind of like it's kind of like a fruit pie or something, like an apple pie or like a fruit tart. It's got real ingredients.
Like apple turnover?
Yeah, maybe like an apple tart, like a turnover.
Apple fritter.
It's got real ingredients, but that's not going to be your meal. You go and you're going to enjoy it.
It's great, but there's kind of a hole in the middle, so it's not, complete.
Yeah,
like a blueberry.
But
donut.
there's it's like a donut. Yeah, no, it's got real ingredients. It's got some surprises in between, but maybe don't have that for your entire meal, and you'll have a good time.
Jelly donut with preserves. Ooh,
preserves. Yeah, the gourmet donuts.
Trying to make ourselves hungry on this podcast.
Federal donuts or something. Yeah.
Are we foodies now? Are we foodies? We could pivot.
Yeah.
We could pivot.
Oh yeah.
276 episodes in. It's time. We've done enough. Movie and TV. Step aside. It's foodie time.
Eat, review, repeat.
Eat, review, repeat.
Eat, review. It just rolls off the tongue. It's great.
That's my
podcast. You got it.
Right there.
Oh, that's yours. I'm not invited. I see how it is.
You can't do movies and beers and brew. Oh, I don't remember what one of the
two dudes and brews.
Two dudes and brews.
Some brews and some booze. Wait, no, we already covered that part. Some movies, maybe some movies, some parentheses movies somewhere. I'm not sure. If
you're like, this is just about beer. No, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Any other non-spoilery thoughts for you?
I think you could go in technically and not have seen all the other things, but you certainly were rewarded for getting the cameos.
It more.
Yeah. It rewards the fan. I think if you're not already a fan of the superhero movies, you don't have to necessarily be a fan of the Fox stuff, but if this is not your cup of tea, it's not really going to convert you to it. I don't think this is one that was like, I've never seen a superhero movie before, but this is going to be the one that converts me. But I think if you're a fan of the genre and the content, then you'll enjoy this one too.
Okay. Yeah, that seems fair. What about you, Andrew? Deadpool and Wolverine. What'd you think?
You very much benefit from a. So I saw this with two other people. I saw it with my father-in-law and my sister-in-law's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. And presumably some other folks in the theater as well.
And some other folks in the theater. Yeah, we didn't reserve the whole theater, and we saw it in Dolby, and I think Dolby was a good choice. I feel good about my decision.
Okay.
And I think that my father-in-law did not quite get. There's a lot of references in this movie.
Okay. That he didn't. Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole
probably.
There's probably like a whole act of this movie that is just all reference. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. Like, you can watch it. He still laughed and had a good time with it, but
but he's missing some of the humor,
the
because
substance of that act.
Yeah.
Really the meat and potatoes. If we're gonna, go back to the food analogies, the meat and food, the meat and food, the meat and potatoes of this meal, of that act, was really the references, right? The substance of the whole thing. And I think you probably miss a lot, in my opinion, if you don't get it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You don't get me wrong; everything's charming, and you can still laugh, and it's still a good time. But you get so much more. You get substantially more from having understood all of the context of the act. This section of the movie. I think that aside from that, if you're on board and if you know what's going on, I think it's I don't know. I think it's an innovative movie. I think that it's I think it's for what it is and what it tries to do. I can't quite think of anything quite like it. Like other Deadpool movies were imaginative on their own, but this completely leans into it, and then to be rewarded with such success for leaning into it so hard is it's really quite remarkable. It's I mean, I don't know, it just speaks volumes about the audience, and about the people that kind of yearn for this kind of thing. And it's I don't know, it should be kind of like enlightening to the people that made it and to the studios that make it too. You know what I mean? Like your audience members are involved, and your audience members are, they're informed, and you can make these things and they can be successful. I mean, it was, don't get me wrong, this I think this movie too is they did a super effective job of marketing.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
And
I mean, it's a movie that kind of sells itself in some sort of ways, where it's like, it's Deadpool, who you know and love. It's Wolverine, who you know and love, but we put him in the fucking costume this time, so you're gonna love him even more. And they're in a movie together. Like, that's really all that was needed to be said and done. And obviously the movie does give you more than that, but it gives you plenty of just that too to make it
chemistry.
Work.
Chemistry between the characters is huge. I think there's a really special moment too in this movie, and it just kind of, as somebody that's kind of just been along for the ride for many, I mean, for decades at this point,
for our life.
Yeah, exactly.
Our lives at this point.
Yeah.
Which with these iterations of these characters. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the movie was very special. I thought that it was, it's really, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's a,
tour de force. No. Okay.
No, not a tour de force. I think
Go back to the drawing board.
It's like what's it called when you make something that kind of celebrates the thing? You know what I mean? Celebrate something. There's a word I'm looking for and I can't think of it.
No.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're putting down.
Like Ryan Reynolds has made a thing to celebrate like this property.
The Fox universe.
The Fox universe,
Deadpool.
superhero films in general, and just like this entire thing. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it is. That's kind of the vibes I got from this. It's fast and loose and it's lighthearted, but at the same time, there's a moment. I don't think it's too spoiler. I don't know. There's a moment through the credits and whatnot, right? And it just
yes.
And it was really special. You could tell that the people involved in making this movie were. It's not only a moment for the audience; it's a moment for the people that make it too. You know what I mean? And it's celebratory, and it's cool, man, because it's a genre of movie that did not exist until X-Men. You know, I mean, I guess it did.
Is that what we're looking for?
Is it technically
commemorating?
Commemorating. Yes,
Is that it?
That's the word I was looking for.
I did consult a thesaurus. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's commemorating.
Anyway,
it's commemorating, the superhero genre, and and it's acknowledging the shoulders that it's standing on. And while it does play fast and loose with everything that's happened with the property, it's I don't know. I feel like it's respectful. And I think that it still celebrates it. You know what I mean? And it's cool.
It's acknowledging the low points, but not just pissing on the grave of Fox, and being like, shit sucked. Like, now, there's moments of that, but the overall tone is way more
like the meta. I mean, this is a movie with a meta.
Yeah, very
and
meta.
And it's fucking cool. It's really awesome that something like this can be made to this level. And I mean, it's really unique. And unlike casting Robert Downey Jr. as your fucking guy, this just seems so much more. It just seems so much more. Period. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was I do think it's a tour de force superhero movie. I think it has a unique point of view with the meta and it narratively, and I think it was just really incredibly well created, and crafted.
Yeah, I agree. I think that and this may fall somewhat on deaf ears because of the fact that we're recording 2 weeks after it came out, and this will be released to the masses probably a month or so after it's been out. But it'll probably still be playing well and probably still be easy to see in theaters.
Probably, yeah.
This is a movie, I think that the experience of it is something that I will remember. And I don't, this is not trying to rub salt in the wound for you, Henrique, because we did see opening night. We kept our tickets. Someone bought your seat. So
good for them.
It filled right in.
Good for them. I'm glad.
But we had a great audience, and I think just being able to see all those surprises and have all that preserved and be with a group of people who did get it and who were, really digging it and enjoying it. That overall experience was just something really memorable. And seeing it the second time too, even, it was a Wednesday, but it was Wednesday, man. But it was fucking packed, and the audience was good. And I think everyone is kind of responding to it in the same way. Like, clearly a group of people that are like, all right, we don't need to see it opening night, or people that had COVID and couldn't see it opening night, perhaps. All the COVID, people, all the people recovering from COVID were in that theater, perhaps. But, that shared experience was really, really unique and really fun. And one that we really haven't seen with all of these Marvel movies either. I mean, it's whatever your feelings are on, the latest batch of Marvel movies. Like, I think it can be fairly said that none of them have had massive audience responses the way that your Avengers movies, your Infinity Wars, your Endgames have. Maybe Guardians Volume 3, but even then it's still kind of a different sort of thing. And so this is kind of that sort of communal experience that doesn't come around all the time. I think especially in a post-COVID world where theatrical experiences are harder to come by in this sort of format. Like the last thing that has, for me, like for us personally, like Dune Part 2 is probably the last thing that was like, oh my fuck, like type of,
for sure, I
have to be in this theater. And the last Marvel movie I think that probably came close to this is probably Spider-Man No Way Home, like the same sort of magic, with that one, kind of the anticipation of, are they going to do it? Are they going to bring back Toby and Andrew? And they did, and it was like fucking cool.
Yeah, that's the movie that I thought most kind of paralleled this.
That's probably the closest in terms of paralleling. So then the experience number one, I hope that for people listening to this, I'm going to say nice things about the movie. I have issues with it somewhat, but none of them really detracted from my overall experience. And so my number one, thing to say is see this movie in a theater if you can. This is a recommendation, I guess, but it's a preview of coming attractions, I guess, for me. It's the type of movie that is best experienced in a theater with an audience if you can. I don't know that this movie is going to hold up as well when I watch it at home on Disney Plus or when I pick up the 4K and watch it that way. I think I'll still enjoy it a lot, but I think these first two viewings were really something special, and then that's going to hold it's going to have it hold a special place for me as a result of those viewings. Now, talking more about the movie itself, doing things backwards, and we'll go back to the recommendation, even though everyone now knows what mine is. Spoilers for that. I think that, some of the minor like things that I have with this is I think that some of the like the fights are a mixed bag. Some are really good. Some I think are a little bit messier in terms of choreography and shaky cam type stuff. I think that, you know, by virtue of this being a Deadpool plus MCU movie, like what does that look like? I think that if you have reverence for the characters from Deadpool and kind of, you know, Deadpool's relevance within the Fox universe, a lot of that kind of gets shunted off to the side for good chunks of this movie, in favor of a little buddy thing with Wolverine. And so I think that if you expect it to be a true, proper, full Deadpool sequel, it is, but not in ways you might expect it to be. And so I think that there's little things like that. Like I think the handling of Vanessa's character, which is a through line from Deadpool 2, didn't love. Stuff like that, didn't love. You know, things that I did really like about it though, and like the plot's another thing where I'm just like, if you like try to spin it out, and if you're if you're trying to like figure out the timeline of shit, and I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. And again, that's symptomatic of the Fox universe being nonsensical. And like, is Logan in the same universe as everything else? Like, is Days of Future Past in the same universe? Because like, there's time travel, so the timeline's getting fucked around with. Are they creating branching timelines? Does any of this make any sense? You know, and it's like, all right, you've got Earth 616, which is the sacred timeline or whatever, and then you've got the Fox universe on one side. And it's like, does any of it really make sense when you try to like, you know, spool it out? And I'm like, I'm not sure that it does, but I'm also not sure that it really matters all that much. So don't think about it too much is right. That's right. Kind of the takeaway, right? Like if you do, you will probably just get into an endless loop of, well, what if this? Then, well, you know, and it's just not going to be productive. So those are kind of my minor grievances. The things I really liked about it, Ryan Reynolds is great. Hugh Jackman is great. I liked the introduction of the TVA into the MCU, you know, movies side of things. Yeah, you know, coming cool from Loki, which is really cool to see. I like seeing the synergy between movies and TV shows. I think that's really neat because I feel like, you know, coming from the era of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything being so one-sided, it was just like, this is kind of fucking lame. And I think to see kind of the interactivity, you know, we saw it obviously with WandaVision to Doctor Strange, but it felt like those were two things made completely independently from each other with no collaboration or coordination whatsoever in terms of character arcs. So this to me felt like a more natural handoff type of thing, which was really cool to see. And then something we talked about, the needle drops. I think we're done well here. And I think the score had some impactful moments too. I thought the score was actually pretty good throughout too. But at the end of the day, and a lot of the conversation is going to be reserved for spoilers, so many special, amazing moments, you know, certainly for fans of Fox, for fans of Marvel, for casual fans, hardcore fans, for anyone. I think that there's a lot that you can come out appreciating this. It's a funny movie. It's a Deadpool movie. It's a comedy. Right. A lot of jokes. You know, it is funny. It's fucking bloody. It's violent and irreverent and raunchy and the things that you would expect a Deadpool movie to be. It is not a Disney-fied version of that in any way, except for cocaine usage. Cocaine usage frowned upon, apparently. So, I think that, you know, for this being the one MCU movie we're getting in 2024, if you were going to hang your hat on one movie to put out, this is a great one. This is a great one to put your, you know, to put out there and kind of reinvigorate some interest in the MCU, even though this is kind of like, at the end of the day, MCU adjacent and not really a huge building block, you know, necessarily for setting up a Robert Downey Jr., Dr. Doom, blah, blah, blah. It didn't need to be. It's its own thing. It's both a Deadpool sequel and a Deadpool introduction to the MCU, and it achieves both with flying colors, I think, for a big range of people who are going to get a lot of enjoyment out of this, whether it's just laughing for 2 hours or appreciating the more, I don't want to say subtle, but, you know, the things that casual viewers who don't have history with some of the characters that are here are going to care about or necessarily find the humor in or you know, the novelty in. But there's a little bit here for everyone. So really enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine both times. I should say I saw it twice. Usually I don't see a movie 2 times unless I found at least something mildly worthwhile about it the first time. But I really thoroughly enjoyed it both times, and the experience both times was was great. Dolby for both viewings as well. So
premium format both times.
you know my recommendation. I say see this in theaters. I think it's the movie that should be experienced with a big packed audience that's hopefully not full of disrespectful people who want to talk all the time, or dogs. I love dogs, but don't bring them to a theater. It happens. There's an episode. I don't remember what movie it was that Andrew saw, but
it's like
but
fucking Sonic or something. I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, don't bring your dog.
Come on, man.
Yeah, for real, dude. For real.
That's my recommendation. Is your dog can be left at home. I know you love him. I love my dog too, but
come on.
He would not do well in a theater. He would be a little shitbag. That is for sure. So anyway, see this in theaters. Absolutely biggest, loudest format possible.
I was pissed.
I'm bringing up old wounds. I'm sorry. But that's my recommendation. What do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree? What do you think in terms of recommendations? See it at theaters. Wait to watch it on streaming 4K at home, whatever, or wait until someone pays you to see it.
No, I told my sister to go watch this in theaters because I think if you've been like, I don't know about the Marvel movies, superhero movies recently, I think you're gonna have fun in this one. Like it's just a fun movie. Maybe not every, like in any comedy, like not every joke is gonna land maybe for everybody, but I think if you like the previous Deadpool ones, like again, this is very much a Deadpool movie. So you have to like that kind of raunchy humor and the violence, and you have to be okay with that. And if you like that, then you're really going to like this. I think you're going to like this probably more, maybe not as a movie, but at least it's an experience. And I think the one thing with the MCU is this is a great installment in the MCU, but like you said, this doesn't really show me where the MCU is headed. And I think that's kind of been the case with the most recent successes. Like when you think back of Guardians of the Galaxy, like this is kind of the swan song of the Guardians. Like this is not necessarily the swan song of Deadpool, but it is of the Fox universe.
Right.
And it almost seems more tied and focused on that than the MCU, even though it's clearly in. But the way it wraps up too, this is not leading into the next movie. Like in Deadpool, I'm sure will be in some other movies.
Pretty self-contained.
Right, very self-contained and pays homage to previous Fox properties without really getting into the MCU of it. So I think if your expectations are that this is going to like save the MCU, and I think it's a great movie within it, or at least a really enjoyable one, but it's not. It doesn't automatically put the MCU back on. I mean, it's still self-aware too, right? Like, there's literally a joke in this about how everything since Endgame has been a hit, and everyone's like, "Okay, has it?" So, I think I can enjoy that Marvel and the MCU are aware enough to include those kind of jokes in there too. Like, it makes me feel a bit better that like, okay, like we're all on the same page. We're enjoying this together. And we've enjoyed this and some other ones more than other movies, and that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely see it in theaters. I think. I think it's the best thing that has come from Marvel Studios in recent memory. I think that there is, if you're in any way, like connected to the MCU, like if you're like us and you've been on this, train for, a while, I think the more that you're invested in the studio and everything that they put out, I think that you get more from it. But if you're not invested, this is your first, MCU movie. I think you're going to miss out on a lot of references and stuff. But I do think that, I don't know. I think it's an enjoyable movie at the very least. Like on face value, I think there is value there. So I think it's a wonderfully made movie. You can tell it's you can tell it is a labor of love.
Labor of love.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
So
and for more than just Ryan Reynolds, I think even getting Hugh back in the fold was
That's right.
someone who I think was probably content to hang up the claws post Logan to get him back and kind of re-energized and I don't know, maybe putting some time in the gym, yeah.
And
Totally.
there's interviews with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and
Like Hot Ones where they eat spicy wings together.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, okay.
I saw one where they were
It's out
like
there.
drinking coffee somewhere,
Oh.
and he's like, Hugh, I want you to know, I don't know if I've ever told, I want to tell you this. Like, they flew me out to film, whatever the fuck that X-Men was where they got rid of his mouth.
Yes, yeah. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, they flew
really
me
good,
out there, and
as I
it's like
said
my
before.
first major Hollywood movie. This is like this is a big get for me. And the way that you interacted with everybody on set and everything else, you really inspired me in the type of person that I want to be as an actor. You know what I mean? It informed like what a good person is on set. You know what I mean? So you can there's a lot of reverence from Ryan Reynolds towards Hugh Jackman. And I don't know. The credits of this movie really put into focus what this movie's all about for everybody involved. And I thought it was real special. It actually kind of got me choked up a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think it's a, maybe I'm biased, because maybe this movie's built for me, or made for me.
Right. We are people that grew up with seeing these movies, the good ones and the bad ones, and like that was kind of our lived experience. And then, when we got old enough, the glory days happened with the MCU. And now this is kind of just this kind of crazy union of the two worlds, worlds colliding of these things you probably never thought you'd see on screen together, which is really, really awesome to see.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's real something. I think it's something very special. And I think if you take the stuff that makes it special away, I think at the very least you have an entertaining summer blockbuster movie. So that's
right. If even if you're not,
invested
squarely in the target audience in the way that probably all three of us are, there's still something here for you to enjoy. It's not reliant on nostalgia. It's not reliant on cameos, but it greatly uses those to its benefit, I think, at the same time too. So, all right, should we do some spoilers then?
We shall do spoilers.
Full spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine. Do we wanna go through the big old cameos at this point? Do you want to talk about other stuff? What else? What do we got? We're
Do you have
we
a
can
favorite?
do anything and everything that we want.
Do you have a favorite cameo?
Ooh, a favorite one. Well, I have to say the reveal of one Johnny Storm, even though it's kind of the most obvious telegraphed thing in retrospect, still took me by surprise.
It was pretty awesome.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved Chris Evans coming back as Johnny. That was incredible. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Avengers, and then flame on. It was just pure joy for me, pure elation for me personally, just to see that. And it's so funny because before this movie came out, we had heard so many like things. I mean, I have like an ear to the ground with a lot of things, but there were so many rumors out there. Taylor Swift is in this movie. Blah blah.
Yeah.
Whoever's in this movie, she's not in this movie. She's not.
Yeah.
There were so many rumors out there that it's like some of those were true. And some of those might have just been speculative guesses that were educated guesses or were actually based on concrete things that had come out. But there had been so much noise that there were things that kind of I had no idea. And so I had no idea that Chris Evans would be game to come back and play Johnny for a couple of minutes and then get fucking shredded down to muscles. You know what I mean?
There are a lot of educated wishes.
Educated wishes, that's right.
Yeah.
So that one was probably the most like holy shit in the moment. But there's another cameo I think that both times I've seen it has gotten the biggest response. But I don't know if that's one of your favorite ones. So I don't want to steal anyone's thunders. So I'll turn the question around.
I was probably
going to
say
Andrew.
I was probably going to say Johnny Storm, but I think that
because it's the first one too in sequence.
It's a big one, and it's like, oh yeah. I think the most what the fuck one was probably Blade.
Yes,
for me.
That's the one.
Just like, oh
both,
shit.
Both times,
Like,
people
what the
have lost their fucking
like,
minds.
I'm like, Wesley Snipes is in this?
Yeah,
God
Wesley
damn.
Snipes coming back to do it. Number one, notoriously did not like Ryan Reynolds because they, lest we forget, were in a Blade movie together once upon a time. Blade Trinity, real bad one, but they were in it together. That's the movie where Wesley Snipes infamously refused to open his eyes when they were filming, so they had to CGI open eyes over him at one point.
No.
So he and Wesley, Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes, I don't think were the greatest of friends coming off of their experience on Blade. When that was when Ryan Reynolds was kind of just a baby, not literally, but quite young, even younger than he was in Wolverine. So that was really crazy to see. And it's also crazy because that wasn't a Fox movie. That was a New Line movie. So
Wow.
like, in terms of just blending universes, that was a not Fox thing. Obviously the Fantastic Four movies with Evans and Jessica Alba, and like that was all Fox, like totally fair game. But to see Blade, for behind the scenes, real reasons, plus the fact that it's, something you're not really expecting coming in because you're thinking it's Fox. That was that to me, the music of him coming in is so fucking cool. Wesley Snipes is fucking cool. He's got the shades. He's got the Blade shit. Like he's fucking Blade. There's only one Blade. There's only ever gonna be one Blade.
that was too funny.
Especially with all the development problems. That's
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's a hilarious line. In 5 years, it might have aged really, really well when Mahershala is gone from the project and they abandoned it in human style. But because they never made an Inhumans anything, right? They didn't make a TV show either. So, but that to me was like, oh fuck, holy fuck, sort of like people are eating this shit up, kind of moment. So that was a great one. I think. So they spoiled. Andrew, let me ask you: was what was the most impactful before we get to the others part of this resistance team?
Oh shoot, I don't know. I think whenever they all when they walked in, you know what I mean?
That was great because it was just like one character at a time,
Elektra.
like an introduction. Like, oh fuck, oh my god,
Elektra
Is that
was also,
Gambit?
what the fuck?
Is that Channing Tatum as Gambit?
You're goddamn right.
Ooh, what a nigga name for myself.
He might have been the funniest character in my opinion, which is hard to top.
Channing Tatum in comedic roles he's dynamite. Like
He's so good.
That's where he's so comfortable and so like actually legitimately very funny and good. And we spent 10 years trying to get him in dramatic roles, and it's like this guy sucks at that. He's not built for that. He even though he kind of, I guess, I don't know. He's like John Cena, kind of like he's got a thumb-like appearance, and he's just great at comedy. And here, he squeezes into the fucking headgear and shit. He's got a staff. He's got the whole fucking crazy purple armor shit, and occasional
the accent.
I just think I don't know. He was so much fun.
His lines were written so good, though. Like I haven't had the opportunity to help anybody. Some of it's just
it's like it's almost like I was born here.
It's right. It's like I was born here. Oh, I lost my shit. All of them. Yeah, Gambit was great. There was that sequence too in the minivan. I really enjoyed the Honda Odyssey minivan thing and I also enjoyed the used car salesman kind of bits.
Yes, I'm sure you appreciated that.
Yeah,
it's right up your alley.
Yeah, I thought that was very funny. And he's trying to sell he's trying to compare the differences between this one doesn't totally fucking suck. If that's what you're asking. Is that how you sell cars? You're the expert here. Well, it's there's very much a piece of me that just wants to say that. Hey, I was looking at this and why should I look at that? And that's exactly the response that you should have. Well, this one's not a steaming pile of shit, it was good. It hit every bone, every fun. I had 2 big brews going in. It's double fisted going in.
Oh,
Sure.
nice.
And damn it, dude, it was the cherry on top of my movie day. I laughed my ass off. All of it was so good. So when you asked me what was the most impactful, Elektra walking in, Blade walking in, and then fucking Gambit walking in, I lost it. I also lost it when I saw the 20th Century Fox logo.
Oh yeah,
buried in the
right
sand.
in the void. Yeah.
Also lost it when Wolverine and them fought inside the Honda Odyssey. I thought that was great.
That to me was a great fight slash sex scene, sort of,
right?
Kind of the way that it was kind of shot. The pan back and the coexist bumper sticker and the things are rocking a little bit in there. That whole sequence was incredible, and it's preceded by the Hugh Jackman just fucking knocking it out of the park with this monologue of just being like, "You're a fucking joke." Like the joke is that you can't die, and Deadpool is just stunned silence. I'm gonna fight you now, and I just those two every time they fought was awesome. Like obviously this is a very kind of even more curmudgeonly sort of Wolverine who's very down on his luck and is just trying to get fucked up all the time and lash out at others, but seeing those two fight was never not entertaining, and then by the time third act comes around, they've grown on each other a little bit. Like, man, that was good too.
I think the real holy shit moment when I realized what movie I'm in for.
Okay.
I think what really dialed it in for me.
Well, maybe I know what it is, but I want to hear it. I want to hear it from you.
Was the sequences of different X-Men's or not X-Men's, different Wolverines.
You
get the one. Where he's on
some good cameos there.
On the cross. But the best one, the one that brought tears to my eyes and a slight stomach cramp, was when he hopped off of the bar stool and he was actually 5 foot tall.
Oh, comic book accurate Wolverine.
I lost it. I thought that was the funniest thing. And then, so I'm still recovering from that. And then Henry Cavill Wolverine is there.
Oh, man. The Cavalrine.
Oh, that was so good.
Did you notice that when he takes his claws out, dude is reloading his fucking fists?
Yes.
It's incredible. He's doing the thing.
Incredible. The meta, dude. The meta, all of it was just so good.
We'll treat you so much better than the shit fucks down the street. Hell yeah. I mean, I think he could be a good Wolverine. I don't think he needs to be Wolverine, but I think I would love to see Henry Cavill in a proper MCU role, full on, just let the man stick in be in a role that he is suited for and actually be able to perform in that role. Oh man, what a dream that would be. But I love the self-awareness. Just for him to do that too is so great. Really, really enjoyed that.
Right. No, a lot of people
Ryan Reynolds told him
you would not expect to be in this.
We're gonna shoot.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they told Henry Cavill. Do it. Do the thing.
Yeah.
Do the thing. Yeah. I liked the brown suit Wolverine fighting against the Hulk. That was pretty fucking good. Cool. Age of Apocalypse, kind of crazy hair Wolverine, beardy Wolverine was pretty nuts too. That was a lot of fun. And just jumping ahead, talking Wolverine, we had the classic yellow and blue costume with the Wolverine variant that we settle on, the worst variant. When he fucking pulls that mask up,
dude, don't even get me started.
Oh my god, dude! I think that feeds into the Deadpool core fight sequence with Madonna, but.
I don't think I've been this pumped watching a movie.
It's got the needle drops just highlighting how fucking epic shit is. And just the most grand payoffs in the ways that you want them to be.
The Northman, I think, is the last time I had this much fun watching a movie.
Yeah, maybe. You're just fucking revved up watching.
You just you just get pumped. And then you laugh real hard in the middle of the theater and you're not worried about it because everybody else is enjoying it too.
Yeah, you're just having fun.
You're having fun at the movie theater. You're just
trying to make a name for yourself here.
Just trying to make a name for myself, yeah. Shut up, my daddy's dick ready.
What about when they locked arms at the end of the movie? And Wolverine's not
I'll tell you what. Is it just Guardians of the Galaxy but shirtless Hugh Jackman? Yeah.
Yes.
Was it fucking hype? Yeah, I was all in on it. I thought it was
how they
fucking
zoom
cool.
in on it, and Deadpool just stares at his abs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
he gives a nod of approval. Yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple good divorce jokes in here. It's like, oh, he hasn't been working out since the divorce, and it's like, all right, well, you probably proved that. We're talking to Elektra is like, oh no, the Daredevil died. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It's fine.
Yeah,
it was great.
I'm having fun
man,
just talking about it. I got tears just thinking about it.
This is I literally got to the point of pulling up all episodes of our podcast, and I'm like, what's the last time I had this much fun in a movie theater? Because, like, look, is Dune Part 2 a better movie? Yes. Did I have more fun watching Deadpool and Wolverine? Yeah, probably, though. You know,
I walk
what I mean?
out kind of like just
had
drooling
some fun
on myself
moments,
after
but
Dune, though. Just,
yeah.
You know,
yeah, I think just unabashedly fun and trying to just be fun. You know, I can't think of the last thing other than even Spider-Man No Way Home again. To you know, even Guardians Volume 3 was like, I walked into that movie thinking, oh fuck, half these characters are probably going to die.
Yeah.
You know, and I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't. But there's a lot of movies that like I walk into thinking like I think this is gonna be really good, and I walk away, it's gonna be really good. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, really good, but like you knew that was gonna be a fucking heavy and emotional movie, not a fun, a lighthearted.
And there's a difference between
time.
having like an entertaining movie, like in a fun two different ways. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you can interact with this Deadpool movie and actually legitimately have an animated fun time watching this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas you can watch like the first Guardians of the Galaxy, or you can just go watch a comedy movie in general and just have, you know, like it's entertaining and you laugh at it and stuff, but you're not engaging with the film. This movie, and like I said, I'm a target audience person. It's purposely made for somebody that has, for me, you know, and it drove engagement, and it's in much in the same way that The Northman is purposely built for a man like me, you know, like like I'm a man, I'm a man, you know, I want to fight, I want blood, I want the, you know, it was, you know, it drives engagement.
Totally. Yeah.
Do you have
I was sorry. Just to finish the thought, I was looking back. I think the last two movies that I've had really like have been really fucking fun have been Spider-Man No Way Home and Top Gun Maverick. Those are the two movies that I think are the closest comparisons of like obviously very different movies. No Way Home probably being a closer comparison. Just fucking fun. Just an absolute thrill ride to watch in theaters with a shared like audience and stuff like that. So nothing else, even though there have been better movies, you know, quote unquote, nothing quite like this. So anyway, sorry, what was your question? No,
you gotta enjoy that. But I was just gonna say, with all the different songs, did you have a favorite needle drop throughout, or like sequence with the song, or because of the song, or song that has been playing in your head nonstop?
To me, it's probably the most obvious pick, but Madonna.
Fucking Madonna,
dude.
With that
old boy-esque kind of panning, you know, shot through the bus and beyond and everything, I thought was just so great.
Right. Even though it's not as good, the NSYNC sequence, like that got me, because that's like it's like the intro
of course,
to the movie,
of course, yes,
right?
yes. That the opening credits are fantastic, they're incredible.
So then it's just like this is what we're in for.
Dance pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was really enjoyable. Great. Because both Deadpool movies had really fun like intros of being like written by the real heroes here, directed by some shitbag, and you know, starring God's perfect idiot and all that stuff. This was a little bit of different. I was a little disappointed there wasn't like a closing credit thing that was like the animated Deadpool thing like the first two had, but to get to the, I guess the, you know, the actual thing that they did during the credits, that was incredible. That was really touching and you know, good choice of song.
Is there anything beyond the...
Oh, you didn't stay. There is a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to... I mean, we can touch on it now and just circle back to other things. Yeah. But there is a post-credit scene, and it's a really great payoff to Johnny's fate in this movie. So I don't know if we should spoil it for you, but it's really good. It's like it's again not a post-credit scene that is an essential like holy shit the next Deadpool 4 is coming and this is how it's about to happen sort of thing or anything like that. It is just very much
Professor X reveal,
closing the loop on a thing that happened in the movie, if that makes sense. I mean, we can just talk about it. I don't know, but
I mean, what the fuck happened?
So it is Chris Evans giving an epic rant in which he describes Cassandra Nova. Oh God, let's see if the IMDb quote section has it on there.
The quotes are in there because it's like Deadpool justifying all the stuff that he said that Johnny Storm said.
In the Void, you're either food for Eliath or you work for her. And I'll tell you her as Cassandra Nova, a megalomaniacal psychotic asshole, a finger-licking dead inside pixie slab of a third-rate dime store nut milk. And I'll tell you what she can do. She could lick my goddamn cinnamon ring clean and kick rocks all the way to bald hell. In fact, I don't give a shit if she removes all my skin and pops me like some nightmarish blood balloon. If the last thing I do in this godforsaken cum gutter existence is light that fuckbox on fire, I still won't die happy. That's right, Wade. I won't be happy until I've urinated on a freshly barbecued corpse and husk fucked the charred remains while gargling juggernauts. And you can quote me. So that's it.
It's pretty good.
That's the post-credit scene. So and I think Deadpool says "Gotcha, fuckface," and that's pretty much it. But it's Chris Evans going as fucking Boston as he can, as Bostonian as he can with it, which is
Chris
funny.
Evans says all that.
He says it all.
Wow. Okay.
You can quote me on it, and he did. So
funny.
Deadpool redeemed. No, it was a very good, funny like payoff. The good riddance montage was it's a testament to the power of editing that something with clips from Fant Four Stick got me feeling a little emotional. You know what I mean? Like seeing Michael B. Jordan as Johnny there and seeing the shitty version of the Thing, you know. But all of that was just that was great. And again, good song choice. Like it got you feeling some sort of way, like feeling like this reverence and awe for, you know, things that were imperfect, but like, you know, people were trying and doing a lot of things. And I think a lot of that is like kind of a result of Kevin Feige. Like he worked on the first X-Men movie. Like Kevin Feige wouldn't be where he is, you know, as kind of the head honcho at Marvel Studios without those early Fox X-Men movies existing and, you know, doing and, you know, paving the way for better superhero movies down the road. So I thought that was really nice. I thought it was really sweet, really touching. So anyway, I think we were talking about something else, and I think we kind of jumped over into that. I don't remember.
Apologize about that.
No worries. That's how it goes.
No, we said like songs and kind of.
Oh, song choice. Yeah, Madonna. Yeah. I guess just for me that whole sequence just, you know, gloriously bloody. You know, Deadpool core getting absolutely fucked up, and all of them dying except you know, coming back to life except for Nice Pool, R.I.P. Very dead, I think.
Very dead.
The proposal.
There's some Huey Lewis in there. I can't remember what scene.
Huey Lewis.
Power of Love.
I don't remember. All right. What about you? Was Madonna your answer as well? Or did you have another?
Yeah,
answer?
it was gonna be like a prayer, Madonna. It's just the one that.
Did you listen to the bass line in that song? I don't know if you've.
Yeah, I've listened to it.
Does it slap? Does it slap?
Oh, dude,
slap it a bit.
It's fucking good. The whole song's real good, but it's one of the, you know, you just don't. I don't know. You just don't regularly listen to Madonna, you know. So
yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. I think if I had to pick another one that stands out, and I am admittedly looking at the soundtrack to get ideas, it's Goo Goo Dolls. I think Goo Goo Dolls comes in when the TVA guy gets you know, eyes on.
Well,
who does he have eyes for? I think he has eyes for Deadpool when he comes out from the because he get the butt tailor, the tailor who was feeling him up. He's like, by the way, your tailor is a sexual predator, I think.
The guy's sitting down there in his office. It's almost like a Spaceball situation where they're sitting down in the thing, and he's like, look at.
But I think they do it early on, and I think when Wolverine comes out shirtless at the end of the movie, he comes out, and then you get a reprise of it, which is awesome.
So good.
Oh man, That was great. I'd have to, it's one of those things I'll have to sit with the movie and revisit it more to figure out the needle drops and where they kind of slide in. Like Guardians, like all three of those movies, when you think about those movies, like a lot of those scenes and you hear that music, it'll make you think of that scene or vice versa. And I think that there's potential for this to kind of, certainly moments in this movie to kind of have that effect. So yeah. What else do you guys got for spoilers?
I don't know. I've said.
You said the things.
I've said the things that I don't know. Stand
You
up
said
to
what
me.
you said you needed to said.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what else do we got here? I'm just running down my list of things that stood out to me. Happy Hogan's here. Jon Favreau. I read.
That's great. Yeah.
I didn't
Ryan
quite.
Reynolds basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
quite get all that.
wonky. Well, because like it's also like so Deadpool is like traveling the multiverse, I guess, with the cable
Right.
device. So he's killed Ryan Reynolds before he could be in Green Lantern at the end of Deadpool 2. He kills, I think, the X-Men Origins Wolverine Deadpool version. Some other things, something else he does, I think. Then the Deadpool 2 Super Duper cut, he goes back in time to try to kill baby Hitler, which I think was cut from the theatrical cut. But he's got to squeeze the life out of that little guy. Yeah, I think the timeline of this is a bit wonky, and like the plotting of this is a bit wonky. If we're gonna, take a side, take a side step and talk about things that maybe didn't totally work, because like Logan happens in the future from where Deadpool is, and so like it doesn't really matter. Like at the end of the day, like none of this fucking matters. But it's like your universe is dying because Logan has died. It's like, well, Logan hasn't died yet. So unless you're plucking Deadpool out of time from 5 years earlier or 10 years earlier from when that point happens, which very well may be the case, it's kind of like nonsensical. But then the TVA stuff is like, your universe is dying because you've lost your anchor being, but it's going to die in 2,000 years. But I'm an asshole, so I'm going to blow it up in 72 hours. It's like, all right, whatever. I did initially find it being like, why the fuck is the TVA doing this? Like, didn't we get past the point within these 2 seasons of Loki of the TVA doing shit? And they're like, it's the rogue agent within TVA. It's like, all right, that makes more sense. And they actually brought B-15 in, which was great. Great chemistry with Peter as well. Also, Peter Pool, classic. We love Peter Pool. Dogpool, also Dogpool. Very licky, almost as licky as Ovi. But and Lady Deadpool, not Taylor Swift, but Blake Lively. Look at all these things that we're touching on. We're not going to touch on almost other things probably that could come up either. But well, God, and the span of me talking about 3 other things, I've already lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Someone rang me in.
like the general plot and like how things fit
Oh,
into
yes.
TVA.
I much like this movie sort of lost the plot in some ways. I also just lost the plot.
It happens.
So yeah, I just think it's like, we want you to be part of the MCU in Earth 616, but your world is dying. But like, why are they plucking him out of Earth 616? Unclear. There's some weird thing with Thor crying over us, It's like not really explained. Maybe that's a future thing that gets addressed, or it's just a red herring type of thing. But yeah,
That's pretty funny.
It's funny.
He just wakes up. It's like, Thor.
No, it was good. It was funny, but it like the actual like why of any of this movie is kind of just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't think about it too much. Yeah,
is
just enjoy it. Just sit there.
Like, enjoy the moments of this. Don't think about the fact that like it's sort of like just we are putting things in motion for the sake of putting things in motion that you're really going to enjoy. Like that's kind of almost what it feels like. It's like we want the things to happen that are going to be really cool. It doesn't matter that much how we get to that point. Just fucking go with it. Sure. So those are the things that I, like, all right, whatever. I didn't love, but and again, some of the other things I talked about, the somewhat sidelining of the Deadpool characters, the fact that he's broken up with Vanessa, which feels very, I don't know. Deadpool 2 killed her off, so they were separated for the whole movie, and then Deadpool 3, it's like they're broken up, and it's like, yeah, can we just have this character be fucking happy for once? Like, like the whole first movie is her, him trying to, basically see like if she'll still like him, even though he's this, mutated freak or whatever in his eyes. So it's like, kind of just feels like the whole point of the ending of the first movie is that she loves Wade for Wade, not for, the fact that he was, big, handsome Ryan Reynolds man. So I don't know. It just feels kind of lazy in terms of just the plot approach. But again, the real love romantic chemistry, sort of not really romantic chemistry, but chemistry is between Deadpool and Wolverine here. So I guess it's kind of fine. So
yeah.
Let's see. Any other thoughts? I think I might have hit. The only other thing, I liked the X variants. Sabretooth got fucking absolutely murdered. I liked seeing Tyler Mane back briefly. I like seeing Aaron Stanford back as Pyro. I thought that was cool. Not everybody gets a monologue or whatever, he says when he knocks him out is pretty good. It was fun seeing the kind of fun X villain variants. I think we had a Deathstrike. I think we had Azazel from First Class.
Yeah,
there was a Juggernaut, a non-Vinnie Jones Juggernaut, but a rather large man. Some others, Toad. I think the Russian from The Punisher was there. There was also a black Bullseye, which was kind of fun, like a variant Bullseye because he had the Colin Farrell thing. And then I take it back. There is one last character we have not talked about at fucking all.
I was gonna say
Cassandra Nova.
Because I was gonna say we need to kind of hit on one of the main villains.
I thought Emma Corrin was great. I really liked how they portrayed that character. I thought they were very good. I thought the character was interesting. The backstory of Xavier's kind of twin within the womb and kind of basically forced to grow up and live in the void because of the character's power and potential. The void, the whole second set piece, which is kind of, I think, what Andrew talked about of like, this is kind of the reference. Everything in here is kind of a reference. If you don't really get it, there's a Fantastic Car, there's a, ice cream truck or whatever. Like all these are kind of references and blah, 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 and things buried in the sand and whatever. There's a Thor helmet at one point. Like, there's like little things that are just references kind of sewn throughout. But I thought having Cassandra Nova as kind of the villain, I thought she as a character was really, I thought pretty interesting, like a good villain, not like a holy shit, incredible, game-changing MCU villain, but like a very credible and realistic threat. And, the idea of her kind of obviously escaping out of the void into the real world, or at least the Foxiverse, was like a good, credible threat. So yeah, I thought she was a good, effective villain in a movie that was not reliant on its villain being, the big, someone that wasn't a make or break type of character, I guess, the villain.
Sure.
Role. So anyway, any thoughts for you guys?
I understood her general intentions. I think when she got out and was like then going about trying to rule the whole and use the time dilator compressor thingy
blow up timeline device.
I was like, okay, like now we're kind of getting into like I'm gonna be evil and do some evil things, which is like, well, sure, okay. But I generally liked her as a threatening presence to have.
She's half that fucking guy's skin off.
Yeah, well, and then she's like finger fucking everyone. She's skull fucking everyone.
Yeah,
it's pretty gnarly. It's pretty gnarly. And the way
she's an Omega level unit.
Omega level. That's right.
Omega
the way
level
that she
unit.
drags Mr. Paradox, like kind of just ragdolls him, like down into the subway or whatever was like,
creepy.
I didn't like looking at that. Paradox was fun. I liked Paradox. Didn't talk about him either. Good villain, just kind of asshole, bureaucratic, douchebag kind of. I just want to, do big things in the TVA, and I'm going to do it my way, and fuck anyone that, gets fucking pruned and destroyed and erased from time as a result. Not my problem. Don't care. He's good though. Yeah. But I think we might have hit all the things. I think we might have hit all the things. I don't know.
Just about enough things.
Last call. Anyone have any other thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine?
No. Fun time. I think it's kind of neat that it just closes the little package and puts him back in his universe, because then it's like he's there if you want to use him.
I thought for sure
leave him.
That this would be the destruction of the Fox universe and Deadpool would escape into the MCU. Right. But now, for now, they exist in their separate timelines and stuff, mm-hmm. and so I'm sure Deadpool will come to play. When the MCU comes calling again, but for now, you can kind of keep things pretty simple until you need him for a Doomsday, or for probably more likely a Secret Wars, bringing Deadpool into the fold. So, yeah. looking forward to seeing the future of Deadpool being involved in the MCU. I think if they do a Deadpool in an Avengers movie, he'll be a little bit more toned down. But I think that it's safe to say, based on the success of this movie, that a Deadpool 4, whatever form it takes, is a virtual lock at this point. I think everyone involved would be stupid to not do it. And I think we'll see more of Hugh Jackman. I think he's not done. I think he's definitely...
He's got more
I
in
think
the
we're going to
tank.
see him in Secret Wars. I think he's definitely... He's going to do it till he's 90, So I think this might have reinvigorated, because it's like Logan is probably a draining movie to make. Reward of productive kind of like fulfilling sort of role. But this, to me, strikes me as the kind of movie, obviously it's a lot of CG and stuff like that. And still, dude, like I said, put time in the gym and got fucking shredded for it, because that's what he does. It seemed like this is a type of movie that would be really fucking fun. And I think that's the sort of thing that might kickstart your interest of being like, you know what? If we can make it like that, I would be game. So I think in a Secret Wars, if we can get a goddamn Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom, we can get Hugh Jackman back, we can get Tobey Maguire in, we can get them all. We can get everyone in there, and do it just full balls to the wall. We can get who else? What are some other deep cuts that we want to see from the Fox side of things, or even beyond?
We got
Fox?
so many of them. We
get
to bring them back. Yeah,
Professor X.
You can do Professor X. We could Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider. Nicolas Cage has to come back, obviously.
Shit. There you go. I mean, you have multiple Professor X's. Like you get James McAvoy, you get Patrick Stewart.
You could do both of them.
Do it.
Yeah. What's really Thomas Jane Punisher maybe?
Wow.
Unfortunately, Ray Stevenson would be great, but not unfortunately possible anymore.
Lou Ferrigno
as the Hulk. Oh man, that would be fucking sick. I'd be down for that. Eric Bana. Eric Bana could come back.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm
Ed
just saying.
Norton.
Ed Norton. Oh yeah, full multiverse. Ed Norton and Terrence Howard both coming back.
Fucking bring Terrence Howard back. Yes.
With this fucking science.
Yes.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, I think
another time, baby.
Yes.
Next time.
Secret Wars. I think Secret Wars. Get all this shit out of your system, and then let's simplify and go back to just normal shit.
I mean, the budget is limited, so
right.
Just get whatever.
It's limited now. Yeah. RDJ's got half the budget locked down, so it's limited now.
Unlimited resources.
Yeah.
Unlimited power. All right. Well, we'll see what the future holds. We'll see what it holds. So let's leave it there. Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's catch up on things. Andrew and I probably don't have a whole lot to catch up on because we recorded quite recently on a show called The Acolyte. So Henrique, I think we should turn it over to you. You obviously were with us not too long ago for X-Men 97. But we'd love to hear about what's been going on over there.
Well, I cannot tell you about the Acolyte because I'm only one episode in, so that'll be maybe for next time.
Okay.
But for having all that time, being home with COVID, I got some things done, but we kind of focused. We watched a lot of My Hero Academia, so we were just about finished with season 5, which was probably the most. It's by far my least favorite season. And I think that's kind of what had us stumbling through it. There was just like an entire half arc about the villains and stuff, and like not really even like the main villains necessarily. And then season 6 comes on, and oh boy, does that shit pick up. Most of season 6 is a giant battle, and it's fucking epic. It's like got most of your favorite characters, so I definitely had a great time. I think season 7 is already out, and it seems like we're kind of coming towards the end of things. So I wouldn't be surprised. I know the manga is supposed to end this year, like I think anytime now in August.
I feel like I read something about something ending. I don't think I was.
Yeah,
wasn't sure which one it was. Yeah,
I assume the anime will end probably in the next couple of years, or maybe they'll do some movies. But I'm looking forward to see how they wrap that up because I really enjoyed season 6. And hopefully season 7 is good. I finished Hot D, House of the Dragon, season 2.
Yes. We love some Hot D.
Yeah.
Or do we? I don't know.
Had a lot of good stuff. I know people aren't the most thrilled with the finale, which, to be fair, was one of the weaker episodes, I thought. But there was some good stuff in there. Like I liked it more than season 1 overall. It's just a lot of dragons. It's a lot of politics, and it's a lot of acting. So I really enjoyed it. So the finale didn't sour the season for me personally. I think it's just, it left me wanting a little bit more, sure, but I really enjoyed it. Okay. In terms of some books, I mentioned Death's End before. I think I was a little bit maybe just starting it or a little bit further in, but that's the third book.
Yeah, okay.
Of the Remembrance of Earth's Past, which is the Three Body Problem series. And oh boy, does that series go places. I can't say I'm like the most into, like, I enjoy sci-fi, but I haven't read a lot of the classic sci-fi, haven't gotten like a lot of the Asimov and stuff like that. There's some things I do want to go into, but man, this trilogy is probably one of my favorite things that I've experienced in a long time. And
it's real thought invoking.
It's so thought invoking.
Yeah.
It's left me thinking so much. Like the first, and they really build, and the third one really goes so out there. I mean, it's talking about like just your place in the universe and what the universe is, and like just throwing out some really, really big questions out there that I still think about. And there's certain scenes that are just so ridiculous and graphic, and it's kind of wild. It's a very dark series overall, but it's really incredible. I think anyone who's into sci-fi should check it out, because I'd be curious to see when you finish up, Andrew, what are your final thoughts? But I think books 2 and 3 were even better than books 1, personally. I think it just continues to build until it hits the final. And I think the end was satisfying too, so I think it sticks the landing as well. So there's like some spin-off written by a different author, and there's kind of a prequel to it, but I think for the most part it's the trilogy. And I might check out some other stuff, but I'm pretty content with what I got from the 3 books.
I'm in like chapter 3, the second book, and I've been listening to it exclusively. I listened to the first one exclusively. Yeah. Listening to the second one now. The second one's a bit harder to follow, because I and you can correct me if I'm wrong, being that you're through it. It doesn't follow the characters of the first book. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. So these are new people.
So it mostly. I will say the second book does have a main character, which is maybe you can't say that necessarily about the first one. There's a couple main characters. The second book has a clear main character. The third book has a
which is the guy that came up with the sociology, right? Or
Luo Jie is definitely the main character of the second book.
I actually really enjoy the fact that there is a centralized main character, and there are subsequent characters in the second book, but the first one is very much centered around one guy. And this one guy is, you can tell the author was very much focused on this one guy, because it's just, there's a lot more meat on this character. And I will say that I think that the concepts of the book are incredible. I think the dialogue between characters is less believable. I think the real strong points of the book or the series so far are the concepts, and the exploration of, the concepts and like the science behind it and everything else. I think where it doesn't quite land is the believability between the different, and that could be like lack of translation, because it is a translated
I do
thing.
wonder how a little bit of that is between the translation and cultural differences.
Because some of it does seem a little bit cold. It just seems kind of metallic.
I think that's a big criticism of the first one. I feel like there's a little bit. Once you get more into it, less of that in the second one, less of that into the third one. The third one has partially a love story in it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, in the second book,
which is like kind of there, but not really. I would not say there's really a prominent love story. Truly,
it's not
like,
so
there's
much
one character.
It's not so much an issue in the second book, because the second book is kind of more introspective, where the first book had a lot of inter-character like relations and
Right.
whatnot, and there's like a lot more communication and whatnot. But definitely is a book where you get going at like, you know, you go to drop the baby off and you got to drop them off 20 minutes up in Land O'Lakes. So you just start driving and you do this while you drive and you got one hand on the wheel and you just think
Deep
about
in
a lot.
thought.
Yeah. Deep in thought, thinking about a lot of things that, you'd probably
some terrifying
normally
things, I will say. Like, it makes you think about some things. So I've mentioned it before, but it's basically an alien invasion story. But just the new fears that it brought, I think, are pretty terrifying. Like, this is not a horror book by any means, but it's probably one of the most terrifying things that are. I don't know. Some of the concepts in it, I find really, really terrifying.
And I think it's
because of the unknown.
It's an interesting like inspection on humanity, right? Like who we are and like how we would address certain things and why we address those things this way. You know, it's real introspective, and that's you know, and that's why like the criticism that it's not like the dialogue between characters is a little bit cold. I think it's really okay because the story mostly seems to be like just analyzing like what it is to be, you know, human or what's
happening to the world when there's aliens coming and what do we do and what is that? What happens?
Yeah, it's real fucking cool shit, dude. Yeah. Like it's real good.
I've really liked it. I highly recommend it.
It's a hard. I'll be honest with you. It's a book that you. Some books you can listen to without having to rewind. At least me personally. There's chapters in this book. Like I got halfway through the chapter. Like it's like year 3, I think is the name of the chapter in the second book, and I'm like 3/4 of the way through, and it's like 2 hours long. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna re-listen to it because you know I listened to it on Friday, and now it's Monday, and I need to get back into it. So I'm just gonna re-listen to everything.
It's not a casual reader listen.
No,
by any stretch.
It's super heady. It's among the most heady thing I've probably listened to, I think.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you for recommending it. Recommending that I listen because I watched the show I think before you recommended the book.
I actually haven't finished the show, so now that I've finished them all, I want to go back and finish it. It's not the same. It's not the same. Like it's entertaining and it's good, but it's the concepts are just so much more in depth in the book, and I don't know. It's a real rewarding thing to listen to, I think. Because it's science fiction, but at the same time, it's real introspective too. So it's cool. Anyways, so I've been listening to the same thing you're listening to, but you're further than me. So there you go, double catching up. But nice. Loved it. Because I focused on that. Actually finished it when I was coming back from a conference in Kansas City, and then plane got stuck at the tarmac and whatnot. So it gave me opportunity to finish that. I did not finish Tress. I was hoping to be finished by Tress of the Emerald Sea by now. I don't have much left, so maybe this weekend. But I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's going to pick up and have a finale. So I'll report back afterwards. But other than that, I saw the Foo Fighters live for the first time in New York City Field. That was a great experience. Long-ass show, just about 3 hours in length. Just rocking out, man. Just 3 hours of Dave Grohl being Dave Grohl, and I enjoyed pretty much every minute of it. So I would definitely catch them again. I can't believe it's been this long and before I saw them.
That was the first time. Nice.
Yeah, very first time. Very nice. But and then lastly, just keep trying to occupy my time, or I guess I've had to make time for it. Been doing more running. Have a big race coming up at the end of October that I need to get some miles down. So
Andrew's shaking his head. He says no sir, no thank you.
Just steady.
It's incredible that
adding
Miles, I can do.
Steadily adding.
I will do 5,000 feet. Thank you.
When you're out of it's hilarious that when you're out of shape you measure like the amount of exertion by steps.
Oh yeah, 5,000 steps, not feet.
And then
I'll say though, like, you know, it's just you start off with like a minute, you go to 2 minutes, and then next thing you know, you're 5 minutes, and then you just keep going. So, but it's also a good time to listen to stuff, you know, podcasts, audiobooks, and things that occupy your time.
So let me get this. Hold on, holy shit! So not only are you measuring your distance in miles, you're also processing content while you do it. You're not like mindlessly.
It depends because there are times, and it's been so goddamn hot that I get to a point where I'm just like, my brain's not functioning, and like I just need to put on some music so I can just zone out. But in the beginning, I usually like to try to listen to something and not.
Other times you can focus on literature while you run.
There are times, and then there's other times where I'm just like, I'm missing all this, and there's no point.
2 laps around my neighborhood is a mile. By the time I reach the end of the street, which is like the first curve of the track, you know?
Yeah.
I'm laying down in that guy's yard. I'm not processing anything besides survival. Like I need oxygen to live. I'm so out of shape. It's terrible. Anyways. Yeah, good for you, dude. I'm glad you
just build it up.
Just fucking run around on your left kind of deal, you know?
Yeah, no, the marathon is going to be in Arlington through DC, so I'm fully planning to wear my cap shirt, and if I can pass one person on their left, then
you get to say it.
That's a win right there.
You get to say it.
Yeah. If someone passes me, like, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah. All right. Well, very nice.
No, that's my.
When is that race? When's the next?
Recap.
When's that race coming up?
End of October. It'll be actually right.
It's some time away.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, when you come to visit, Andrew, it'll be right afterwards. So if I can walk still, we'll certainly walk to some places.
For some reason, Henrique, I don't think that will be an issue. I think you'll.
It's a week later. If it was like a day or two, then I'd be pretty concerned. But you got a week. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You can walk to Brooklyn.
If it was Andrew, on the other hand, he'd be wheelchair bound for the rest of his life. So.
It's the truth.
Me too. I'm not making fun of you specifically. I think you and I are probably closer to each other. All right, Henrique, you got anything else for us you want to share?
Nah, I'll report back when I finish up some of those things.
Cool. All right, Andrew. It's been 2 days, but maybe some things have happened. Anything happen over there?
Been watching Olympics.
More Olympics.
Oh yeah,
more Olympics. I watched some rugby, dude. These rugby players are incredible. Rugby is such a fun sport to watch. It's got the unyielding athleticism like soccer, but the contact and roughness of football, American football.
What a beautiful marriage of things. Sure.
It is. It's they're warriors, you know. And it was funny because I put it on, and the New Zealanders naturally had the female New Zealanders naturally had a haka before they before they played.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And Sarah came out of the shower and she goes, "What are you watching?" I said, "This is a haka. They're about to go to battle. They're about to go to play rugby." She goes, "Rugby?" I'm like, "Yeah." And we watched a game. And then, that was like an hour, and I wanted to watch another game. She goes, "I've had enough rugby." I'm like, "Okay." But rugby.
Do you have a favorite Olympic sport or event? Is it rugby?
No, I think my favorite's probably gymnastics.
Yeah, gymnastics is still.
But we did watch synchronized diving, which is fucking bonkers. Like, these people do these flips and then they dive, and there's
all just nuts.
It's like, it's about to have a raunchy, analogy, but it's almost like one of those like just like itty bitty baby turds. Bloop, there's like this
little perfect little turd.
There's no splash. There's those. It's really incredible.
It's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah, doesn't happen all that often, but when it does,
it does, it's like, ooh. Whoa.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
We watched judo the other night. Judo was I had a very good time watching the judo. We watched the super heavyweight judo, which might be less entertaining than, when you really think about it. Might be less entertaining than the lighter weight judos, but we did watch some judo, and that was real fun. But I think my favorite's probably gymnastics. Gymnastics is just entertaining. It's entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
What else did we do? I think it's probably about it, really.
Probably.
Since the last time we recorded.
Yeah, I think we expected to be having a longer layoff between episodes, but all right. Well, you still got something that's popped into mind.
I bought tickets to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah,
we're going there. We're gonna fly up there.
Let's do it.
We're gonna hang out for some Florida Georgia action.
We're gonna watch a football game
on TV somewhere.
Might buy that. There's a video game out called NCAA 25.
Called Football 25. Yeah,
I might get that on when it goes on sale.
Yeah, it's been a long time, right?
So,
Is it just me? Has it been a long time since they had NCAA?
Oh yeah,
10
no,
years?
it's been a long ass time. When's the last one?
I think
GameCube?
at least 10 years. I don't know if GameCube's quite accurate, but
I used to play on
Xbox
I think
360
PS3. I think it skips
PS3,
the entire generation of the PlayStation 4 and 360.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Anyways, I hear that's a popular
Xbox
game.
One,
Hunter
I
plays
guess,
it a
not the
lot,
360.
and so maybe I might get that because then I'll be able to,
Yeah, you want to do it, Enrique? You want to do it? We'll get a dynasty going.
Well,
we can do
I'm
a
gonna get it
shared dynasty.
when Florida loses, so then I can recreate a season where we go
undefeated
perfect,
and
we
you
win the
beat
national
every team
ultimate
100-0.
and then I'm like, hell yeah, this is my reality.
Should create a schedule where it's just playing Georgia 12 times in a row and beating their asses every
winning
time.
every single time. Just stomping that ass.
Stomping that ass. It's going to be a very fun time coming up to visit you guys. I'm very excited.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We'll have a lot more room to accommodate you. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, excited. That's all I've been up to. What about you guys? Or Colton, I guess.
Just me at this point. Just chiming in with a house update. So last year recorded, we had closed on the house and had, I think, gotten in. I think we recorded it literally the day that we got into the house on the Acolyte. So not a whole lot of updates there to share, but the house is still there. It has not burned down yet, which is very good to share. We built a potty patch for Obi. So basically the way it's set up, we have it's all fenced in the backyard. It's all cement. But there's like an alleyway that kind of spans between the fence and where the house is. And so we built kind of a narrow potty patch, and drilled some I'm saying I'm taking credit for some things that Anna definitely did that I didn't do. But it was a team effort. Drilled some 2x4s together to create a little frame. So put some landscaping fabric down, put some pea gravel down, some more fabric, some topsoil, we're using artificial turf on top. We brought him over to the house for the first time last night, and he was very excited about. I mean, it's very empty in there, but he was excited. He was wagging his tail the whole time, and kind of usually when he's panting and he can't close his mouth is when he's over stimulated and overexcited. And he was that the whole time. We took him out back. He liked it out there. He sniffed the potty patch and didn't quite know what to think of it and ran away from her. All right, let's try to ease him in. We took him on the leash and he peed right on it immediately. So we felt accomplished that he has peed on all of our handiwork. But he peed on it twice, in fact, which was good. The electrician is in there working to get everything wired, up to code, ready for home theaters and other things and stuff. So we're just getting all the pieces in place to be ready for us to move in. And a couple weeks from when we're recording, probably around the time this is out, if not, this might be after we already move. To be honest, depending on how long editing takes with these whole batch of episodes that we've banked up in the past week or so. But house is good. House is good. Really excited. We're going up to Vermont very shortly, so when we do record next, I'm sure I'll check back in and let everyone know how that vacation went, but we're going up just to relax. We'll be working part of the time up there too, but we'll be up there for my birthday, and it'll just be nice to get away, especially while stuff is happening with the house. We'll have to come back, finish packing, and do the actual move itself, but a little calm before the storm, and kind of a break from the craziness that the past couple weeks have been, just between getting everything finalized for the house, doing quick projects with the house these past couple days and stuff. So the only other thing that I will check back in on, I think I said basically some thoughts on House of the Dragon season 2 on the Acolyte episode, and I said I might wait and have a bigger conversation since I knew that Andrew hadn't watched any of it, and I figured, Henrique, that you were up to date on it. It sounds like you were higher on season 2 than I was. I definitely thought season 1 was notably better. And I think it is really just because season 2 felt like it was missing 2 episodes, because it was. So I think that it peaked at at episode 4 with like a big, huge, holy shit, insane sort of episode, and then spent 4 episodes doing a lot of setup for nothing, or for a payoff that's going to come 2 years down the road. And I felt like that was kind of disappointing. I don't know. The finale itself had some shit in it that, like, introducing new characters who I thought were bad, had a lot of the reminding people of Game of Thrones, which is not a thing that you should do at this point, types of things. And it just ended in a way that it's like, look at all the cool shit that's about to happen that you don't get to see yet. And it just felt like such a, like, that's it sort of episode. And looking into it at this point, I'm not even asking Andrew to watch this shit. Like, you watch it at your own pace. Watch it when you get around to it. Don't fucking binge it at this point. I don't think that's going to make it any better for you. We can circle back around to it when season 3 comes out in a couple of years. It's only going to be 4 seasons they announced, which I'm like, we better pick up the fucking pace, because they covered, I think, 30 pages of Fire Blood in season 2, and they covered like more than half of that in season 1. And like season 1, like, obviously jumped a lot in terms of timeline, and covered a lot of material, maybe somewhat too much, but this one just felt like it was not covering much of anything. Like, it felt very, very slow, where characters started the season 1 place, ended the season in exactly the same place. The Damon stuff particularly is like an example where I'm like, holy shit, this fucker's been doing the same shit every fucking episode, and nothing has happened. And so what I read is the original intent was for the season to be 10 episodes. WB came in and said, you're getting 8. And then the writer's strike happened, and they had already written 10 episodes. And so it sounds like, to me, what I understand is basically they didn't have a chance to really reconfigure it into being a shorter season. And so it really just ultimately ended up being a 10 episode season that was cut into 8, with the last 2 being chopped out and moved to the 3rd season. And like the Game of Thrones typical structure is, your penultimate episode is your big fucking battle, crazy shit happening sort of deal. And then you have the fallout episode from that, and you're missing the payoff here. You have the setup and the promise of like shit that's about to go down, and like big shit that's about to go down that probably will be really fucking cool. But I think to end it on a note where it's just like, yeah, come back in 2 years, maybe it'll be cool. It's like, you've built the momentum, but now there's no payoff to it. And I felt like that was that soured my overall enjoyment of this season, of just making it feel very, very incomplete. Like, obviously it's season 2, it's not the series finale or whatever. But that the last bit was given me it was coming way too close to late season Game of Thrones in terms of dialogue, delivery, plotting, structure, that I'm just like, now I'm nervous. And I hope it is just a David Zaslav and WB being fucking morons. There's a story that came out yesterday or today where they miscalculated the worth of their TV thing, and so they accidentally like their profit margin or whatever has to go down $9 billion because they like improperly accounted for some shit. And it's like, just the most incompetent dumb fucks running that company. And I just don't understand like how this came to be. Like the WB Discovery merger has led to like a 70+% drop in the share prices like since the merger happened. And it's just like, stop fucking gutting your company And, like, I don't know. It just all seems like a huge fucking disaster. I admit that I'm not completely 100% well-versed on these sorts of things. And, and David Zaslav is, I'm sure, still making his millions of dollars and being totally fine with how everything's going. But it just seems like from the outside looking in, every time they make a decision, it is a fucking dumb, batshit, backfiring sort of decision. And it just seems like, what the hell is going on there, and it feels like it's having effects on shows like House of the Dragon, which I think had an episode 9 and an episode 10 that is going to deliver the payoff that is set up. I don't think I'd feel this way at all. Like if the finale episode 8 was just another setup episode and building to your big payoff, I wouldn't even give it a second thought. Like, I don't think it would be a top tier episode or anything like that. But because it's the thing that it's leaving you with, it's like, what the, really? That's it? Like, yeah. I don't know. And
I think it's kind of how it ended. Yeah. Like,
because the season itself wasn't bad to that point. Like I said, I mean, there's some really awesome stuff. I liked
episode 1 through 7.
Yeah, I think I did.
I particularly liked episode 7.
Yeah.
Like 4 was really great. And then I thought 7 was quite good. And then 8 was a big,
it was just kind of a nothing,
like big,
a nothing burger of an episode, which
big downturn
in the middle of a season is fine. As a finale, gets it you have the magnifying glass on it, in a way that
I feel like we're still headed
intended
for a good place. It's kind of
I think the show will right the ship. I think it will be fine. I mean, season 3 is going to start. I mean, in a weird sort of fashion, where episode 1 is going to be fucking insane, and they will now have the benefit of 2 years to fucking get everything looking, obviously as incredible as it hopefully should. So that's there, that may be one benefit. And in the scheme of things, if you're watching it not live, if you're just going season 1, 2, 3, 4, like, you probably don't notice. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal, but because the gap between seasons is so big, like, it's especially noticeable. Like, I don't feel like I didn't watch the finale and think, oh my God, I can't wait. Like, it was like, oh, I'd be excited if I knew it was coming next week, but the fact that I have to wait 2 years for that, I'm like, fuck you. No, like, fuck off. Like, I'm not. Like, I'll come back and I'll watch it, obviously, but I'm not invested enough to feel like revved up and hyped up. For
actively
it. Like,
pisses you off. Did it actively piss you off?
It just felt like an insult. It did. It kind of insult me of just being like, oh, that's how you're leaving it. Like, oh, you ran out of money. It was like either they ran out of money, they ran out of time, or someone fucked them over and this is how they had to do it. And I think it's the latter scenario where I think they were stuck into a corner. And I have issues in general, like, like narrative issues and stuff like that. But I think that was the end. I think that was kind of what happened was that they kind of got fucked over. I think by the higher ups, and I think they've been, the showrunners have never come out and basically said, yeah, we got fucked over, but they've made it abundantly clear the choice to make it 8 episodes versus 10 was not a choice at all, and was in fact imposed upon them. So I think some hands were tied, definitely. So anyway, finishing off my, I guess, thoughts on House of the Dragon season 2. Like I said, I don't think we'll probably cover it at this point. I think that kind of that's my thoughts in a nutshell without getting spoilery with it. I still think it's worth watching. I do recommend it. Andrew, I think you should watch it at some point. I'm just saying you don't need to watch 8 episodes
watch it in a
year
weekend and a half.
Like, you've got some time before season 3. Try to, check it out. You might get sucked in. You might get, you might binge it anyway and then get to episode 8 and be like, God damn it, that's it. You might have some similar responses.
Oh
but
my gosh,
totally up to you.
Imagine.
But it's like how I was with The Boys. Like, The Boys, I didn't watch. Like, I probably won't watch season 4 until closer to season 5. So I think you had some things like season 4 was like fine, but like it's been better. Like, I might feel better about it if I start season 5 a month after I finish season 4 instead of having to wait a year and a half or whatever. So, so anyway, that's it. We've been here for over 3 hours. It's time to call it. Not too bad for us. I think it's long, but we don't have to split it in half. So we're good.
Expected.
And it was expected, yes. It's actually before midnight. I mean, if I drag this conclusion part out, then it'll be midnight. So everyone's getting to bed at a half decent hour. So anyway, I will wrap it all up and say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We are on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreview repeat and get early access to regular episodes. I would say like this one, by the time this is up on Patreon, it will have been a whole boatload of like episodes going up super, super early on Patreon. But certainly future episodes, it will still be advantageous for you to be a supporter on Patreon, like Mr. Henrique Jaime is. You can also get time exclusive access to any bonus episodes that we work on. Obviously, couldn't make the X-Men one happen, but maybe we'll scale back expectations and do one or two movies, and keep things a little easier for us in terms of recording and put something out there maybe before the end of the year. I think we can do that. Just got to figure out what. Our website is watchreviewrepeat.com. We are on some of the socials. We are on Twitter at WRRPod. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/watchreviewrepeat. We are on Instagram as well at watchreviewrepeat. You can get in contact with us through any of those platforms if you want. Otherwise, you can send questions, comments, suggestions. If you've got something to say, you can send it our way over to watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Our intro and outro track is Mechanolith. Credit to Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. That is licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Before I wrap things up fully, big thank you to Henrique for joining us, talking about Deadpool. You guys had a nice, lovely conversation about... I already forgot what the name of that third book in that trilogy is, but it sounds interesting. I really want to read it.
It's good shit.
But I'm equally
sometime.
scared by the fact that it seems like to be really fucking in depth. So like it's
very heavy and very dark.
Yeah. So anyway,
been warned.
Thank you for joining us. I'm glad we could obviously make timing work for this, it's always very good to have you on here. Agatha's around the corner. I don't know. I mean, there might be some other stuff that comes along too, so we'll see. But we'll have you on obviously again before long. So
thanks for having me.
Of course. I think up next, I think it's going to be Alien Romulus. I think that's the next theatrical movie. I think that might get Andrew into a cinema, might get me into a cinema. It's not out yet. I think it's a week and a half away from recording.
Fuck, we don't have a long time. Where does time go?
But I think that we will probably not be recording it right when it comes out. I think is probably fair to say. So we have a little buffer time. I think probably realistically, I don't know if we'll record again until after I've moved, which is 23rd of August for reference. So, which this episode is probably coming out around or after that time period. So, like I said, we banked up a bunch of episodes before I go on vacation, before I do a full move. So I'm going to be spending some time editing in addition, obviously, getting everything ready for the move. But I think Alien will call us back to the recording booth, and it might be a new recording booth for me at that point. Not that it'll look any different for the listeners who can't see that sort of thing, but look forward to it. Looking forward to, just looking forward to it all. Moving, Vermont, vacation, Alien Romulus in space. No one can hear you, alien. That's what the trailer says. So, I'll let Andrew take us out.
Hey, guys, take care now. Bye-bye then.
Let's fucking go. To the laters on the Menche.